Oddities, late night movies with Rob and Zack. This is a podcast about cinematic oddities where we discuss any media that is too bizarre, abnormal, or off-kilter for contemporary audiences. Occasionally these projects gel, most times they crash hard into the realm of obscurity. Join us as we delve into the cult classic swamp. I'm Zack.
And I'm not going out there with a boner. We are continuing on with Monstober 2021. So this is going to be our fourth ever, and it's the turnstile effect once again. We have to get it out of the way right off the bat. Not only are we going through the turnstiles and recording things out of order, this is going to be mid-Monstober, but not the first of Monstober, but also, for the second time ever, Zack and I are recording in the same room together. It's the second time, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, technically, by the time the audience is hearing it, it's possibly that third, maybe fourth time. But
when we get famous enough and we have our own actual Wikipedia page, like not our own fandom wiki, but actual Wikipedia, there's going to be a flowchart like on the Memento Wikipedia page for the chronological recording and the release recording and things like that. And so, since we are recording in person, we are on my good old little voice recorder, so sound quality might be a little different from what people are used to. If there's any background noise you hear, that's probably going to be my parents. But we have a special guest who is not really, or I should say is really used to the background noise that my parents make. We are joined for the first time ever by none other than Jeremy, the other half of N Inferiority Complex.
Woo!
Jeremy, thank you for being here. Thank you for letting us get you in our clutches and making you watch this ridiculous movie.
Happy to be here.
Right on, right on. And I knew you'd appreciate the background noise thing. Jeremy and I have recorded music here while my parents were cooking. I think it was 2 years ago.
3 years ago.
Okay, 3 years ago. And while we were recording, whatever my parents were cooking just caused all the fire alarms to go off. And in the background of one of our songs, it's just like, brr, 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 for like 5 minutes or something. And I remember going through those files, and I'm just like, what do we do with this? We can't get rid of it or anything. But yes, Jeremy is here. We're going to get some outsider perspectives on Cinemodities and Friday the 13th. I also have to mention, we might have Jeremy for some other Monstober recordings, but for this one, we also have Babu Frik. Babu Frik, thank you for being here.
Hello, I'm Babu Frik.
That worked out better than any of us could have ever thought. So
our podcast is over.
Yes.
It's all downhill after this.
Babu Frik, what do you want to do for snacks? Okay, Babu Frik is handling this rather well, I think. So, even though this is not our first Monstober episode, we're going to get into Zack's thoughts on Monstober. I think we jump right into it, because our audience, our astute listeners, should be aware. This is not the first time we've discussed this movie, in no way, shape, or form. It came up when we did our history together. This is something Zack and I saw in theaters back in the day. This is something that comes up every once in a while when someone loses a gun, I would say. It's a mainstay. But
somebody has tits that are stupendous.
Yes. So, Zack, why this? Why now? Why are we finally getting to the laugh riot that is Friday the 13th, Part 12?
Yeah, Friday the 13th, 2009. Yes, Rob, this is if anybody knows from the Avengers Endgame Experiment series, this is one of the cornerstones of how Cinemodities kind of formed, in the idea of going into a movie expecting something and then getting something entirely different besides it. The context of this is almost like bonkers. There's the normal nonsense of, as Rob knows, and the audience at this point is more than aware, that Monstober goes through dozens of iterations between November of the previous year until we're actually starting to record. The reason why it was selected this time over something like Jason X, which we flirted with numerous times,
yes.
Jason Goes to Space. It's just embarrassing to say that I finally figured out, this a couple of years ago, that Jason X isn't just simply Jason X, it's Jason 10. That's apparently what it was meant to be. It's like the 10th.
Well, sure.
Jason Roman numeral.
That was up.
I thought they were trying to be edgy. It was the early 2000s. I thought it was trying to be, it was like the X Games. We're going to make him edgy. Okay. They were trying to be edgy. It was Edgelord Jason, which is how that movie ends, with Uber Jason. But anyway. But yes, that's why we're doing it, is because it's that notion of, Rob's here. It's fun to rediscover a gem of the past.
Yes.
We've definitely talked about this God, so many times, like I said, during context of previous years. But no, it's the idea of, like, it's weird because, as we've said numerous times in Cinemati's discussions, like, you're not allowed to have a late night viewing if both parties have seen the film. Mm-hmm. Hence why when we knew Jeremy was here and he was clutched, he was in the clutches, we had the perfect vessel to experience this with.
We plied him with dinner.
Yes,
we made him stick around.
So basically that was kind of it. That was the reason behind this. There really was no grand experiment. As anybody knows with Monstober, it's 100% my whim. There's really nothing beyond that at the end, Dave. I decide something fits in Monstober, we are doing it.
Yes.
For better or worse.
Would you say, like, this is our first recording of Monstober, the other ones are pretty set? You're not going to change anything? Like, tomorrow, you're going to be like, this is off. Candyman's off. Well, maybe since this comes out after Candyman, we're doing Duel again.
I know.
Fool with Sean in.
Yeah, right, that'd be great. No, as of right now, Monstober is pretty locked in for at least, I'd say, obviously this recording. I can't change it midway through, unfortunately. But no, I would say Monstober is pretty locked in as of now. But who knows? As Rob knows, there's a tentative Monstober recording that could be swapped for something else for a December series. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. That could which means there's always the doors left open for me to find something else. Considering that we are just we are far from the actual day of All Hallows Eve.
Yes. Okay. So Jeremy, is, like we're saying, we got you in your clutch, our clutches, not your clutches, and Zack said that one of the golden rules of late night movies is you can't just rewatch it, with the people who've seen it. Have you seen this movie before?
I have not.
Okay. What is your thoughts on Friday the 13th as a franchise? Are you a big Friday the 13th person?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I think I've seen the original movie years ago. I don't remember anything about it, so...
When you say original, what do you... There's 11 others. Any idea? Like, original movie could mean a lot at this point. Do you have an idea of a decade?
Nope.
Yeah, because I guess if you say original, it could be Friday the 13th, Part 1. It could be, Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning? So
it could be Jason Goes to Hell. It could be Freddy versus Jason.
There's many entry points.
Was there a worm Jason at one point?
I think there might have been.
All right, so maybe Jeremy's more up to speed with cinema.
I think he's saying after seeing this one, all bets are off. What came in the earlier movies? Okay. So this is the second one we're discussing. We've only done Part 9 before.
Yeah, Jason Goes to Hell.
I'm remembering because
Final Friday.
We did I think on the end of the year on 2018, we did something Friday the 13th related, but it was ranting about the case, the court case, right?
No, vaguely, I haven't listened to that in forever. What happened was, in our Jason Goes to Hell episode, there was like a 30-minute diatribe I went on because the Halloween 2018 film, I was so angry about that existing. And, we cut that out of the recording because, it was, already, probably a 2.5 hour long discussion.
Oh, yeah.
And that was back when we believed that we had to, keep things, somewhat excised. Not every Cinemati's episode could be a bloated 3-hour mess. So it was okay. And then I forget whatever happened at the end of December where, we just, plug that in.
I don't remember if
Christmas movies.
I think that was when we did Jingle All the Way, The Grinch,
Silent Night, Deadly Night. Elves! I think it was the Scuttled Elves discussion because the recording was so bad.
Yes, which we turned into our live episode.
Yeah.
Yes,
Elves, the episode that's still that was the Chappelle Show excise content that's 85% of the episode. Yeah. Those are the two lost treasures. For
yes, I still have 3 unreleased Chappelle Show episodes. The one thing in the sketch comedy Fort month, Zack was like, "We're going to discuss all of it. We're doing all 3 seasons." Okay. So I think the best place to start is we got to get it out of the way. This is a great tie-in to last Monstober from good old Marcus Nispel directing the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. That was Zack's second return to Cinemati's after Tenet, of course, going through the turnstiles. And now we get into his, I don't know if it's his movie directly after it, but Marcus Nispel becomes the reboot man, it seems, with these 2 franchises.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I know, I guess we also say we, all 3 of us, just finished watching this movie. So it should be fresh in our minds, but I still had to take notes. So you mentioned it, I think, Zack, when we were recording, that it gave you a Texas Chainsaw Massacre feel. I definitely got that sense as well. In the direction and stuff like that, and even bones hanging in Jason's cabin and stuff like that. Overall, I think I mentioned it back last year. Marcus Nispel is fairly uninspired in his directing.
He's a music video director. That's what he is.
Yes, and I couldn't remember if we mentioned that last year, but he is so prolific as a music video director. CNC Music Factory, Faith No More, the B-52s, Billy Joel, Elton John, No Doubt, Spice Girls, the Mighty Mighty Boss Stones, the list goes on. And then somehow he turns into the horror reboot person.
Well, you know why, right? Because Michael Bay started
picks
off
him
as a
up.
music video director, and that's what he wanted to cultivate people from that same sort of like ground root effort.
Yeah. And I know we mentioned that last year with Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, that it's a Platinum Dunes movie. Yeah. So is this one, so we know what we're kind of getting into. I think the biggest problem between these two movies, other than Marcus Nispel's uninspired directing, no R. Lee Ermey in this one.
Yeah, right.
I really wish R. Lee Ermey would have been the cop or something. I don't think he would have been utilized like he is in Texas Chainsaw remake, but I just want more R. Lee Ermey in my life.
That's bad, yeah, sure. Well, just 3 years earlier, he was in the prequel to the remake. Texas Chainsaw Massacre,
prequel to the remake.
Yeah,
we're getting down this rabbit hole.
Yes, I forget what that was called, but it was like, yeah, he was in that. And that was solid. Like, it wasn't reinventing the wheel, but it was solid. Like, it was more. Okay. It was not goofy. Like, it has its moments where it's odd, but like, it was not a goof fest, which is this film.
Yes. Oh my God. I think since our context has been said before, like Zack and I saw it back in the day.
You might have to repeat some of it.
We mentioned the "Where Are You" gun so many times. I think that it's one of those movies where, as a horror movie, because of course, as everybody knows, Zack is more of the Friday the 13th person and the horror person. As a horror movie, I don't think this works. As a laugh riot comedy of errors, this is a solid 10 out of 10. I think this is one of the goofiest things.
Well, that's the thing about this. Like, at no point is this like unnerving.
Yeah,
there's nothing unnerving about this. But, like, I don't know, though. Like, it's like, we got to put ourselves in that mind of, like, 2009. That, like, the slasher genre was clearly dead at this point. Mm-hmm. The very next year, we get the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, which we will never cover because I do not like that film.
Well, what do you mean? Don't you want your villain to be a sympathetic pedophile?
He's not even a sympathetic pedophile. He's just an out-and-out... Because that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, Robin likes... Okay, the infamous story of the Nightmare Before Elm Street remake. He's like, we went to go see that hoping it would be just this again.
Yes.
You're hoping for that lightning strikes twice phenomenon. And then, like, we go to see it, and, like, it's like, oh... It was kind of like, I guess, and then, because like, the best part of that movie, from what I remember, is that there's a scene where, like, the main actress, which is, oh god, what's his name? David Cassidy's daughter's the protagonist of that film.
Okay.
No, she's the fake-out protagonist. Mm-hmm. And, like, she's, like, at a part where she's, like, falling asleep in class, and, like, all of her classmates, like, dissolve into ash, and Rob's just like, I hate it when that happens.
I remember that.
That's the best part of that entire film. And then, like, I saw it then, I kind of didn't think anything of it. And that's the infamous day where we just afterwards threw dry ice into water buckets in my driveway.
Oh, yeah.
It was that day. It was a momentous occasion.
Oh, that's what I should have asked if you had at your yard sale. You still have that cooler we used. I would have bought that.
Do you have any dry ice still? No, so like you have that. Then like a couple years ago, because that like remake isn't included on any of the like Nightmare on Elm Street like box sets.
Oh, okay.
So like I got it from the library, hoping like okay, like it's been at least like 8 years. It must have got like aged slightly better. No, it's abject trash.
Okay.
Like what it does is like it's like everybody in that movie's unlikable. You have not Numi Rapace. What's her? Rooney Mara.
Okay. Oh,
you have the girl with the dragon tattoo.
I
the second
this
one.
Movie entirely.
I know, and she's just like it's Rooney Mara doing her shtick of just looking confused and frail.
Sure.
Which we would later go on. She would that's her entire shtick as a career is just looking frail and confused. And it's that. And what happens like there's like the whole second act is like Fred Krueger was not a murderer. Our parents like got him confused and he was murdered and that's why he's exacting his revenge on us.
Okay.
And then like the third act like plot twist is, oh no, he was a pedophile and he molested all of us. And he took Polaroids of it. And it's like, oh yeah.
I guess I found him sympathetic because it was Jackie Earle Haley. And I like Jackie Earle Haley.
He's trying at least. Like if it weren't for the fact that Robert Englund is so iconic as this character, he'd be fine. Like he'd probably be better than fine. And you're also taking one of the most iconic like pop culture characters of like the last 50 years and you're making him into something irredeemable.
Yes.
And it's just like, Jesus. It's like, what'd you think? Like, they made goddamn Freddy Krueger like pajamas for kids in the 90s. Like, really? You think those same kids who like have those fond memories want to see someone like that turn into a pedophile? Genuinely bizarre.
I like that. There's a retcon pedophile on my pajamas.
Yeah. Like, genuinely, like, inexplicable. I think that's, like, something, again, and that was another Platinum Dunes film.
Yes.
And I think that's, like, this is weirdly, like, the predecessor to that sort of, like, train of thought. Mm-hmm. And that, like, I think, like, I still love the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Mm-hmm. I know you, obviously, you weren't thrilled by it, but like, you thought it was okay.
Yes,
you found
it had its goofy moments, it has its fun stuff. Some of it was actually well
Arlie
done.
Ermey. We said, like, that, he makes that movie. That movie is worth it solely for his performance. Because there's nothing... there's nothing quite like that in any like horror movie of the last 50 years.
Yeah.
It's such a unique performance.
And especially, if everybody remembers from last year, I think the last third of the movie is Jessica Biel running around in a wet t-shirt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, R. Lee Ermey in that, it's just a fun time all around.
But this is the thing, though, I find it fascinating, is that, like, you look at the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street, you look at the Friday the 13th, 2009, and I guess just going forward, when we say Friday the 13th, we're meaning the 2009
Yes.
one, we're not meaning the 1980 film. But even this with Jason, as we were watching this, I haven't seen this in a few years, so it was I knew what was going to happen, but it was a refresh. You look at somebody who's so steeped in Friday the 13th lore. Oh God, I don't even know what his name is. Who plays Jason in this?
I believe it's Derek Mears.
Derek Mears. Well, he's been around forever. Like he's even in Twin Peaks: The Return.
Yes, he's the dude in Fight
Club.
Arm wrestling.
Yeah, he's in the Fight Club where
yes.
Mr. C breaks his arm and kills him.
It really hurts my arm when you have it down here. So let's move it up here. Oh God, that's one of those scenes I go back and watch in The Return. I love that scene.
Derek Mears is a solid actor, and in the Infamous, at some point, Rob will have to watch 8-hour behind the scenes documentary on the entire franchise.
Oh yes,
Derek Mears is a personality as a person, but in this, his Jason has you compare this to Kane Hodder and Jason Goes to Hell, where Jason feels like there is a personality there.
Yes,
and this is just almost I kept getting vibes of the shark in Jaws, where it's just it's a malevolent force.
Not even just a personality in Part 9, which is the last one I've seen since watching this, but a weight to it. I feel like this Jason, well, as we'll talk about, he can teleport in this movie. He can get on roofs immediately if he needs to. It's like he's light as a feather. It was like when we talked about Terminator 3, we were like, we finally get an idea of how heavy Arnold Schwarzenegger is. I felt like that in Friday the 13th Part 9. This, he's the feather from the beginning of Forrest Gump.
He's almost like a weird, he's this weird sort of just oh my God, like a specter that can manifest in the flesh.
Yes.
There's almost this ethereal nature to him, which doesn't make sense, because I know in some of the behind the scenes stuff they talk about how they want to explain his rapid ability to rapidly traverse terrain, he has tunnels everywhere. It's yeah,
I thought that's what they were going for until the
and
second half of the movie where he's teleporting.
Yes. And that's the thing. There's moments I can still remember, back in the day, Rob. We're talking 10+ years ago now, talking about the idea of okay, we see him at ground level, and he's on a roof, and he's on ground level again, and he's back on the second story of the house. And it's not that you want to see scenes of Jason awkwardly climbing up a trellis. I would love to see that, but mass audiences don't. You just need some level. I'll always remember that scene from Jason Goes to Hell from the very beginning, where he's chasing the oh God, the faux girl in distress.
Yep.
And she goes running down the stairs, and we see him walk through the threshold door, and he looks down at the stairs. That just means everything. Mm-hmm. That small moment, both on a story level and on an acting level for Kane Hodder,
it's great.
Miles apart from this, where he's just malevolent, bad man.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. There's no, like you said, there's no weight to Jason in this, even though he is the oh God, he's even his body type in this is strange.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I mean, so this is on that same note with the body type and with the you're the expert here out of the three of us, Zach. Which Friday the 13th movies is this ignoring? Which is it following?
Well,
what is the idea?
Well, this is the whole point. Again, it's the remake thing,
Yes.
where they wanted to sit there, cash in. Again, the last Jason entry prior to this was Freddy vs. Jason, which it made a ton of money, but I guess they felt they kind of blew their wad.
Okay.
Because there is the infamous story how they wanted to do Freddy vs. Jason versus Ash, and Sam Raimi was just really sat there, was just fought, he was intrigued. But he wanted creative control over everything.
Yeah.
And New Line was just New Line's always been anal retentive with horror properties, and especially at that point I don't think Michael Bay was involved.
Okay.
But it was the idea they wrote a script and they made it into a comic now that's out of print. It's super expensive.
I read about that. Yeah, I feel like Ash has fought many different things in comic book universe.
Yeah.
Isn't he the cause of Marvel Zombies? I feel like someone told me that once. Because there's a series called Marvel Zombies, and so you have all your Spider-Man's a zombie. This, that, the other thing's a zombie. And I feel like someone once told me that, there's an alternate ending to, Evil Dead 2 in the comic books, where he doesn't end up in the Army of Darkness place, he ends up in the Marvel Universe and causes the zombies. And I'm just I
can see somebody doing that.
I'm this was before, Marvel took off, I feel like I was told this, or maybe near the beginning, and I'm just why would I care? Just make
cute.
Marvel Zombies,
It's
you know?
cute. Like I said, that I don't mind. But no, when it comes to continuity for this, they wanted to clearly, like, after, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's weird that it took them 6 years after Freddy vs. Jason to do this. You would think they would have accelerated it a bit. I don't know. It's weird. I've never understood the weird, like, time lapse between 2003 and 2009.
Yes.
That's never been explained to me, one way or the other.
When did the court case start?
That was well after this.
Okay, so yeah, it had to.
Well, the box office behind this was like this had a huge opening weekend, and then like it legit cratered. Like it had like a $40 million opening weekend, and then as we discussed, like it had like an 80% drop.
Yeah,
in pre-show recording.
I was so into those stats when I found them. So this movie makes total $90 million, about $90 million worldwide. Yeah,
$60 million domestic after a $40 million opening.
Yeah, about half of that comes from that 4-day President's Weekend.
God, what is that? That's like 2/3.
Yeah. 85% drop off in the second
weekend. And
we saw
if you remember, Rob, we did not see this opening weekend. We saw the second weekend.
Yes, so we were part of that 15%. And then in his third weekend, not from the first weekend, like from second to third, it's another 54% drop off.
It disappeared real quick. Because that was the weird thing about this movie, was that like the horror fans, the Jason fans just like rejected it. Like it was rejected by the fandom. Like before like that became like a term fandom. Mm-hmm. Just like mass audiences wanted no parts of this. The fans wanted no parts of this. Yep. And the whole time this is happening, Rob and I are just peeing ourselves laughing, being like, this is a masterpiece, but in a very different vein.
Not only did the horror fandom not want anything to do with this, I think it was back when we were discussing the American Pie 1 and 2 movies that we were talking about, like, what happened to the studio raunchy comedies? After watching this again after all these years...
It's funny you mention that.
Is Friday the 13th Part 12 the death of the studio comedy? Because I think this is a straight-up comedy.
Well, this is the thing. It's funny you mention it, because, like, again, we all know the Bastion of Truth, IMDb.
Yes.
There's, a factoid that says, like, oh, Michael Bay, like, walked out of, like, a screen because he said it had too much sex.
Okay, I found this, too.
Did you find anything more about this? So, this couldn't possibly explain a lot about the landscape of Hollywood.
Yes, I found an actual, like, Cinema Blend article, which who knows, chicken or egg, which came first, the IMDb trivia fact of the Cinema Blend article, from 2015 that said Michael Bay walked out of the premiere... apparently because there was too much sex. Now, just for the audience and everybody here, we're talking about Michael Bay. We're talking about the man who felt the need to put a scene explaining Romeo and Juliet laws in one of his Transformer movies.
Rob, that came 8 years later.
So what, he got more okay with sex later on?
I don't know.
I found that wild. That's the alleged reason he didn't like this movie because it had too much sex, and he is just the most sexualized male gaze director we've had in a while.
Like when you think about that, the first thing that came into my mind was like Mike. Oh God, what's her name? Megan Fox, like leaning over the hood like in Transformers, and Shia LaBeouf like literally is doing like the Tex Avery like wolf thing where the eyes are bulging out of his head. But like you think of like if that's the case. He was a producer on this.
Yeah.
He could have stopped this at any time.
Yeah.
And also, when you think of Friday the 13th as a franchise, it's like TNA and blood and gore.
Exactly.
And so it's like...
teenagers being punished for having premarital sex.
Yes. But also, you think back to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot in 2003, there's no sex in that. And there's no sex even like in the prequel. Which is fascinating that like weirdly, like Michael Bay might have like almost like a weird puritanical relative
exactly.
to what you'd expect.
He's almost like a I want to look and not touch type of thing.
But he's also like he's also conservative. So like that's the weird thing about him. Like we take him kind of for being like a Hollywood like oh God, sex fiend. But like I guess we have to believe that. Yeah, but why did he exercise? Like at some point, someone in his camp must have seen this and signed off on it.
Exactly. And when you say that, I was laughing to myself because now I'm thinking that during the production of this movie, they had to hide the sex. But they're like, "Oh, Michael's coming to set, Monday through Wednesday. We're going to film all the sex scenes on Thursday. Tell him it's wholesome. Maybe we put a praying scene. We'll cut out later." So on the topic of Michael Bay. Another thing from I have, for the previous fact, I had according to Cinema Blend. For this one, I have according to the internet.
Okay.
Travis Van Winkle's character in this movie, Trent, one of my favorite, I think, on this rewatch, is apparently the same character that same actor plays, also named Trent in the original Transformers. And I haven't seen that movie in so long. From what I read, Trent is I think he's the original boyfriend of Megan Fox.
Oh,
that,
yeah.
Like he's a douchebag, just like in this movie.
It's the same character. It's the same character.
And so the IMDb fact says, this same thing. Like according to Michael Bay, this is the same character, and these movies are in the same universe. And so I'm like, I really want to look into this. Maybe I can find the interview where Michael Bay said this. I found a few different articles that report this, and in the articles they all say something like the interview where Michael Bay allegedly said this has been lost to time. So there's no corroboration for this. Nobody knows where he said this.
So this is someone most likely just making
it seems like
connecting
a
the dots
through
and
the
being like,
grapevine type of thing. Now, I think I need to rewatch the original Transformers, which
I'm pretty sure
soon.
I remember because again, I must have seen that Transformers movie after because that's the thing. This came out in February 2009.
Yep.
Revenge of the Fallen Moon comes out like that summer.
Yes.
So I must have because I have it on DVD somewhere. Transformers 2007. So I must have watched it because I vaguely remember like connecting the dots, that being like, "There's no way." And yes way. I could see them doing that. I could see something about it. It's all coming through Michael Bay's office. I could see some production assistants being like, yeah, just change his name.
Yeah, exactly.
They're both in production at the same time. That would also explain why Michael Bay probably didn't have a lot of hand in this.
Sure.
You know, these like huge blockbusters probably take anywhere from 2 to 3 years to
Absolutely.
get from like nothing to like finished product.
Yeah.
So I could see some. I would imagine there was some producer beyond him that worked on both of these.
Sure.
I could see that happening. Whether he explicitly said like, "Yeah, it's the same guy," is something else entirely. That's why Trent was getting away to Crystal Lake. He had a rough time in Transformers Wars.
Now I'm hoping that if this interview ever gets uncovered, it's revealed that, whoever was interviewing Michael Bay, they came up with this connection, and Michael Bay was so, like, toned out or whatever, he was saying, yes, both characters are named Trent.
Did you try, when you looked for
Fine
that,
with it.
you know what you should try while we're just talking? Go on Google and look up, like, in search parameters for, like, oh god, like December 2008
Okay.
to, like, August 2009. And see if it would come up in the press cycle for either one of these films.
Yes.
If it doesn't come up there, then most likely it was something somebody made up.
That's what it kind of screams to me, especially with the shared universe stuff these days. I kind of
Rob,
buy
like,
into that.
353 out of 400 said that they liked this
it was
factoid.
useful.
So I'm pretty sure it's majority rule on TV trivia. If the yays have it, it's true.
It is. I don't know if Jeremy's aware of this, but if you write something on IMDb, it becomes the truth. So it's one of those types of things.
Yeah, pretty much.
So I think
Anything?
well.
Oh, God.
It lagged on custom date range for a bit, so I'm still working on it. But like I said, as a horror movie, no good. As a comedy of errors, I love this film. You said you rewatched it a little back,
years
like
ago.
a few years.
We're talking at least 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and that's what I was curious if you had. What are your thoughts? This is a rip-roaring good time, right? That's all this is?
Well, that's the thing. Is like obviously considering this is how formative of an experience, like going back to just like me discussing movies and enjoying movies.
Yeah.
Like I would say like it's almost at a point where like it transcends the normal like, oh, is it horror? Is it comedy? And it's more along the lines of like I don't think I can objectively look at this film. I can try, but like again, it's how I enjoy movies. I can still remember you and I sitting in the theater, and I remember like because my father took us because we were underage at the time, and like you and I were laughing so hard at moments. I remember a woman like getting out of her seat and like leaving the theater. I remember being genuinely afraid like we were gonna get kicked out of the movie because we were laughing so loud.
Yeah,
at this.
yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like no, it's if you have a good sense of humor, I think it's, like you said, a rip-roaring good time.
Oh, yeah.
But I think if you're going in is, like, either, like, date night, like, oh, I want my girlfriend to cling to me because it's scary.
Sure.
I would imagine feeling just, like, this is dumb. It's dumb.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think it's, again, it's, we always joke about, like, oh, as long as everything's in focus. But, like, as we kept saying numerous times as we were, like, watching this, we're like, why is the forest glowing at night?
Yes, the fog was like bioluminescent or something. There was bacteria in the air.
And that's the thing. Like, there's so many sequences in this at night that, like where everything's just, like, 100% well lit. And we were, like, so thrown off by this.
Yes.
So, like, I don't know. There's a couple, like, weird, like, continuity errors. Like, there was one point where, like someone's holding up have you seen, like, the missing sign for the sister?
Yep.
Like, to the camera, and it makes no sense continuity-wise. And we all sat there. Like, it was like, it brought us all out of the movie.
Yep.
We were just like, what is going on?
Yep.
Like, who's holding this?
Clear shot of Supernatural guy, Jared Padalecki, holding a stack of them. Quick cut to insert shot of one person holding one sheet directly towards the camera.
And then we cut back to, like, the clerk at the grocery, or was it the corner store?
The Outpost.
Yes, Outpost, yes. And it's just like, and he's just, like, has his hands near the, like nowhere near this, like, the signs. And it's like, what?
Yes, yeah.
So, like, I don't know, like, isn't objectively, objectively okay, like, filmmaking wise? Like, yeah, like, for the most part. But, like, even that, though, there's nothing, like, unless you can appreciate the gonzo-ness, I don't think there's anything for anybody else in this movie.
Okay.
You have to have a very specific. You have to have a good sense of humor. If you don't have a good sense of humor, you are going to be very disappointed with this movie.
Absolutely. So, Jeremy, before I ask you what you thought of this movie, and we'll be shocked. Maybe Jeremy's going to have a hot take over here how he loved it. So, from December 2008 to February 2009, one thing I found, which I just want to say, from February 13th, 2009, from a Macro Rumors forum, the title is Friday the 13th Sucked. and it starts with, so far Michael Bay has ruined the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Amityville Horror, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning, and Transformers.
I forgot about Amityville. Wow, yes. I forgot about that.
So now this is actually interesting. I found a thread, like a forum post on finalgirl.rocks. Okay. This is from February 13th, 2009. And it starts with like, oh, this movie just came out, let's talk about horror. It seems like this is a horror forum type of thing. They give a little synopsis of the movie, and then there's a bunch of comments on it. And when I went to this and I searched Trent, because that's who we're looking for, this is what user Walter L. Holman said. And this was actually a few days later on February 18th, 2009, at 2:42 a.m. Oh man, to quote my favorite character, this shit was stupendous, to say the least. Awesome fact, douchebag boyfriend Trent in this movie is played by the same guy who plays douchebag boyfriend Trent in Transformers, also a Michael Bay production. That's right, Optimus Prime and Jason exist in the same universe. Ownage. No citation, and as far as I can tell from this time frame, nothing else came up from what I'm searching.
You have to go back,
We'd have to do even earlier.
No, not earlier. You have to do the Transformers Revenge of the Fallen Moon, press cycle, which would be June, July 2009. Because I could see, one of these, reports. Remember, this was also the, big... Remember, Twitter started, in 2009. So, I could see one of these dumb film bloggers, back before they really started to have their power, in the, mid-2010s, finding that, or just making the connection. It's not a hard connection. They're both, major studio properties.
Yeah.
And just going to him... I wouldn't be shocked if somebody asked Michael Bay this and he just commented on it. Really, it could even be one of those stupid YouTube interview things where he sits down with a third-rate blog.
That's what I'm thinking it might be. There might be some
obscure thing,
audio thing.
Is there a reason why IMDb doesn't ask for citations?
To make our lives harder.
Is that what it is?
To throw a wrench into everything. Okay, so I'll try that date range. But Jeremy, now that you've seen this, what are your thoughts? You loved it? You hated it? Let's go for it.
Well, if you ask me, this is probably one of the funniest movies I've seen in a long time.
Okay, good.
But, looking at it as a horror movie, it's just, it's bad. I've never been a fan of jump scares. I've always thought they were just it's the cheapest form of just horror. It just sucks, frankly. And they use the jump scares so much throughout the entire movie with the same exact sound effect. At the end, I'm just oh, here we go again.
I was getting so sick of that sound. Not only the jump scare sound, but also every time a light swooped across the screen, we heard the same swoosh.
Well, that's the thing. Again, it's weird because this movie didn't this cost how much did this cost?
$19 million.
Okay, that's
not crazy. I mean, I don't know for the time.
It's for insane for a horror movie for this scale. That's all.
Sure.
The whole reason why these movies, the slasher films, were able to be so prolific in the '80s was because they would cost pennies to make, and they brought in tons of money. So the idea of devoting $20 million to this, never mind. I would imagine probably at least double that on marketing. Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. And that's why they probably didn't make another one, because they probably sat there, barely broke even. And that's the thing. Think about it, these movies used to be guaranteed just oh god, money earners. And then you do this and it makes a fraction of a profit.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And that's the thing too. So even in years past, you could sit there you have rental sales, home video. By this time, think about 2010, 11, that started to dry up. People weren't buying physical media. And again, they were still buying it relative to now, but so I could see, I said, it's not that. But again, we'll definitely talk a little bit later about the idea of why the franchise kind of dried up.
Sure.
And that we're now 12 years removed from a Friday the 13th movie.
Yep.
You can only hope that next year someone will rush this into production for the idea of 13 years later he's been waiting. Mm-hmm. Just because that would be a great marketing tagline. I don't know.
Yeah, I could see that for sure, you know?
But even the fact that, like, I get the pandemic was around, so, like, you couldn't do a lot. But, like, even in 2019, they should have been fast-tracking this. Like, they should have been... It's the weird idea that, like, anything in life, like, nothing is impossible, just simply expensive. Just write a check. There's no reason why you can write, like, Victor Miller, just like, here's $5 million.
Yep.
Just let's do what we want. It's like Sean Cunningham, here's $5 million. And then take, like, another $5 million and just sit there, like, just make a fun movie. Like, there's so many fan movies for Jason, fan films, where, like, it's Friday the 13th, but, like, in the woods and it's, like, snowing. And I'm like, they've never done Snow Jason.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, there you go. You have a brand new angle on this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just make another slasher film. But, like, you're also in a time period, too, where, like, slasher films are, as a genre, are dead right now.
Yes.
And they've been dead for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Because all people want is The Conjuring. That's all they want is The Conjuring. They want the Babadook, where there's not a villain. It's just, it's the idea of a villain, not a villain itself.
Yeah. I think Babu Frik perked up when you said Babadook. I think it misheard you.
Did he now?
So, you bring up interesting points there. What do you think about bringing these older slashers back into the fold by doing a, like, Jason versus Annabelle? What do you think about that?
I don't know. That's a weird thing, though.
That's almost an impossible concept, right? Because I think Annabelle kills off screen only.
But they did that. But you can also make the case of, like, what was that, part 7, where essentially, like, they had their main girl had, like, telekinesis, and it was essentially like
Carrie,
Jason versus Carrie, and it was like, and it's considered one of the better ones. But, like, it's still, like, considered more on the corny side. Like, if you look at, like, how the fans rank the franchise, you like, number 1 almost always is part 6.
Okay.
Because that was the one where, like, he became more of a zombie. And he's just like, Jason could go through anything. It was very campy. It was very tongue-in-cheek. Then, like, after that, I wouldn't even know. It'd be probably, objectively speaking, probably 3, 2, or 4. It would be almost a toss-up.
Okay.
I've always said, and Rob's heard me say this, parts 3 and 4 are the exact same movie, except one has Crispin Glover. One has Crispin Glover and, oh god, what's his name? Corey Feldman, and the other doesn't.
Yeah, that's right. He's,
Tommy Jarvis.
Tommy Jarvis,
Yeah.
yep. I was gonna say Jarvis Miller for some reason. I don't know who that is.
Close enough. And then, like, after that, like basically any, like, even Freddy vs. Jason, like, people appreciate that because at least they, most of the fans recognize how audacious that was, and how any sort of crossover is just, like, pulling teeth, especially after, like, 10 years of development hell as Rob's. At one point, Rob had to almost read a book a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that? But yeah, like I said, that's the thing, is that, like, it would be like anything else. You would have to Jurassic World or Force Awakens it. You would have to bring back a lot of nostalgic elements. You would have, and they've already kind of flirted with this. Like, there's been numerous attempts to do another one of these. Like, at one point, they wanted to do after the boom, because that's the thing. This comes out in February 2009. Now October's Paranormal Activity.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, okay, like they want to do found footage film, Jason. And they're like, there's our angle. We've never done this before. That collapsed under its own weight.
Good.
Then after Avatar, they wanted to do 3D Jason, like they did with Part 3.
Okay.
Back in the 80s.
Yeah.
And it's like, that collapsed. Then, like, it became, like, I think at one point, like, LeBron's production company got involved. Because apparently LeBron likes these movies, which is not a shock. Then I think that guy either got collapsed or got caught in the lawsuit.
Sure.
And then, like, you had the revival of the video game, which, Rob, we've talked about numerous times.
Yes.
And then that guy, like I said, that was doing a great job of injecting blood back into the franchise, and then the lawsuit literally just cut that thing off.
Yeah,
like,
wasn't it we were talking about off mic or on mic? I don't remember that they were going to do the Jason X DLC, and that was the thing that never happened.
Yeah,
Because
they had Kane Hodder do performance capture. They were going to do. Oh yeah, they had a bunch of stuff planned for that. Because again, that game blew up. As somebody who was there for launch day, like when that went live, like the servers crashed for like the followed like first like month, 2 months.
Yeah.
It was a fun game. Like, if you had the right amount of people, and that's partly why that community has kind of died. Is that it was just hard to find good people to play with unless you knew them personally. And that's what happened. The lawsuit's been this way ever since. Like, I think about, I think that it's weird. NECA is making one new figure for Part 7, oddly enough.
Okay.
But after that, though, there's so many different, like, things you can do that they're just, like I said, a Freddy vs. Jason 2-pack would sell like hotcakes if they can. They are contractually obligated to not do that.
And throw in a little tiny Annabelle to get those people involved.
That's the weird thing, though, is that, like, will there be another Friday the 13th? Yes.
Yeah.
But, like, I have a feeling, because, like, we talked about this before we even watched the movies, the idea, like, the fan base is so starved for more Jason, I honestly think they would take something like this again. As long as you had a hockey mask wearing, like, guy who's larger than normal, But like, you know what they would do though? Like this is the Force Awakens or Jurassic Worldification of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
It would be hire Kane Hodder.
Sure.
It would be the announcement of okay, well, they paid off Victor Miller, they wrote him a check.
Yep.
Next headline would be Kane Hodder hired.
Absolutely.
And it's going to be his, like, Unforgiven. It's going to be his thing of, like, him being in the saddle. And it's going to be, like... But that's the weird thing, though. It's like, you could easily make a fantastic Friday the 13th movie. Especially considering, like, everything that happened... Like, this is a great time capsule of 2009 film. Because, like, think of how much... Like, let's just pretend somehow this film got pulled out of February 2009 and tries to get released now. Ignore the state of the world right now.
Sure.
How much of this film, as we've always used to joke, would not be allowed?
Oh, yes.
There is so much in this film that would not be allowed.
Mm-hmm. We would have to take the red marker, too.
Oh, yeah. Like 100%.
Yes.
Like, there'd be so many just redacted parts of the script where pretty much, forget about Michael Bay not liking nudity. Like, it would be, like, that would be the only part that would be allowed. Because it would be considered female empowerment.
Yep.
That's the thing. But, like, you could very easily, especially with today's, like, culture and just how everything is so just sanitized... You could have a lot of fun with this.
Sure.
Especially, again, it's like, I forget what movie we were talking about. I think it might have been even a Friday the 13th movie. It's like, just give me $5 million and I will make you a $100 million film. Give me $5 million, I will make you a barn burner of a Friday the 13th film.
Sure.
And that's the thing. Like, Jason's, like, whereas Freddy is so specifically tied to one actor. Mm-hmm. And even, like, God, they've made so many Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. Like, there's so many Leatherface. And it's funny, Texas Chainsaw Massacre isn't even that anymore. It's just Leatherface. That's become the weird rebranding of that franchise.
Yeah, isn't one of the more modern ones makes him real sympathetic or something like? Like, gives a lot of his backstory.
Yeah, I think we talked about. I think we talked about that.
Yeah,
yeah like it's weird. Like, it's not very good. And they've made like 2 after that. Now, that's the problem with these movies right now. It's like it's in a weird rut where the market's not there for it. But it could be. It's one of those things where, like, nothing's impossible. Like, you just got to devote enough time to it. But you also, again, somebody who knows the development hell of all these movies, it's just like you have too many people who just don't understand it, feeling they have to contribute to it.
Exactly. I think this is a better time than any. There's no better time than this right now. If you have a PlayStation Network account and you are playing Friday the 13th, the game, if you want to play seriously, email Zack or email us and talk to Zack.
Yes.
If you want to get in a 2-player game where you're Jason and I'm the counselor and you keep breaking the fuse box and I keep repairing it 100 times to get that trophy, email and talk to me. That's all I want in that damn game. Is the stupid play 1,000 games as Jason? That's an unreasonable trophy. That is an unreasonable trophy.
That takes an insane amount of hours.
Yes, so I just want someone to just constantly...
Doable.
I want somebody to get on with me, to set their preference to counselor, I'll set my preference to Jason, and we'll bang out like 50 games a night, you know? We'll just get it done real quick, because with 2 people it'll go fast. I just want trophies.
That was such a fun game.
Oh, it was actually pretty fun when I played it seriously those 2 times. Okay, so... I guess we have to talk about the actual movie. I know. The rip-roaring...
Okay, let's delve into the first thing. We have 2 prologues. And the second prologue literally is like, what, the first third of the movie?
Exactly. I also think there's something to say even before that. Just for the record, you will never drink my piss. Okay?
Never.
I know you were a little excited about it, but for the record, Jeremy, you will never drink my piss.
How's that beer treating you, beer snob?
Better than my own piss. You can drink that, by the way. Yours, hers, mine, your. Every swear to God, piss is sterile.
For the record, you will never drink my piss.
That's what you think.
What about me?
Okay, now we got that.
Now we're out of the way.
Yes, the first prologue is the opening credits, which look like they were made on Window Movie Maker. And what is that supposed to be? The first movie?
That's the thing. This movie's a weird, like, I've always understood it as it's the combinations of 1 through 3.
Yeah, that's what I was
Some
reading.
people claim it's 1 through 4. Like I said, 3 and 4 are the exact same movies. And 4 has the very specific ending of, like, Corey Feldman, like, hacking him to death in the house, which is not in this. No, the first prologue is Pamela Voorhees being decapitated, which is the last like 5 minutes of the 1980 film.
Okay.
Which has always been like God. Friday the 13th fans can on every single like retrospective for the franchise, it always has begun with, oh, Jason's not even in the first movie. Pamela's the villain. Yep. It's like Betsy Palmer's the villain. And it's like, yes, I know. Like anybody who's worth their weight in salt knows that. Like, if you're a horror fan, you know that. And if you're not a horror fan, you don't care. Nobody born after the year 2000 is going back to those 80s films.
Yep, sure.
Or at least the first, like, 5.
Yeah.
Nobody is. Like, God, even I have a hard time watching, like, the first one. The first one is just very, like, methodically paced. Again, it's a rip-off of Halloween.
Exactly.
It's a poor man's Halloween. But yeah, the first prologue, like, in black and white, really weird. Like, there's really no definition to anything.
It's not even, like, full black and white. It's, like, ugly, desaturated extreme. It's so weird.
That's probably what it is.
Because they do the transition into the into the more modern day, our second prologue, we should say, and it's just like I saw that and I was like, oh, that's what was wrong. Like the color was ugly.
That's only what it was. Like I said, this movie feels like something that was like even as watching this, it feels like something that was tinkered with after the fact. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense. And for the record, there are 2 cuts of this movie. There's the theatrical version and the extended unrated cut. The film just began, so like I don't know which version we watched.
Ooh, that's a good question. Yeah,
I have no idea.
Probably with our luck, we watched the longer one.
Well, the theatrical version is 97 minutes, and the extended cut is 106. So you're talking about 9 minutes.
Okay.
And I don't remember anything really different in this than what I typically watched.
Yeah, and I wouldn't remember anything from back in the day.
I don't remember any plot points that are different. So we probably watched the theatrical that, yes.
According to IMDb, on the alternate versions, it says also available in a so-called killer cut, which I know the disc says on yours, includes story extensions, extra violence, and more sexual content. It gives no explanation.
Google the difference between the two.
Yes, I want to know, like, what's the difference, you know?
I don't know. From what I remember, I've only seen this, like, maybe 4 times. Maybe 3 times too many. But, like, it's the idea, like, I don't remember anything really jumping out at me here that I've never seen before.
Yeah. This is what the audience should get used to when we're recording right after watching the movie. Some live research.
This isn't like us watching like 4 days in advance and just wait until Candyman, folks. Or technically, hope you enjoyed the episode 2 weeks ago.
FAQ on IMDb. What's the differences? Extended violence and more sexuality. I got that. I figured that's what you would put in the killer cut.
But it's getting to some of this stuff. Like, you have the first prologue where, again, now that you mention it, feels like it was desaturated.
Yes.
They did that probably for dramatic effect, quote unquote. And then you have the second prologue, which is essentially just like a bunch of just random people going into the woods to go. Some of them think they're going to camp. 2 of the guys are there to find. Somehow they got to a pot, whatever you want to call it, just some marijuana plants growing.
Yeah, they know where people are growing pot and they want to just take it.
Yeah.
And they think they're going to take so much that they're going to be rich.
Yes. And that's the thing. It's not even. It just seems to be growing there. Like, it seems like someone just kind of dropped some beans one day and just sprouted to the heavens.
Yes. And there's 5 of them. 2 groups go off and have sex. 1 finds the weed in our second prologue.
Well, because you have I don't even know what her name is. Whitney?
The sister, yes. The one who Jason captured.
Yes, you have Whitney and her boyfriend that go off to, quote, make out somewhere, and they don't even do anything sexual. They just go off and explore
and they find Jason's bedroom.
Yes, they find Jason's bedroom, even though that literally makes no narrative sense. Then you have the other group where, it doesn't even think like they're dating. It's just she's getting horny, pouring baby oil on herself. And
I'm glad you got to this because on moviecensorship.com, I found the differences between the killer cut and the original.
I'm intrigued.
And I got to read this. So the headline for this scene is alternative erotic. And it is described as the killer cut celebrates the breasts being rubbed in with baby oil a little longer. So there's more rubbing in the version.
That adds 9 minutes of screen time?
Apparently this adds 4.5 seconds from the original.
So what is that? What's 60 times 9? And we've subtracted 4 from that.
Yes. I'll keep looking for some differences, but I like that they specifically used the phrase celebrates the breasts being rubbed with baby oil.
Maybe I don't remember that. Maybe we did watch the killer cut.
I would like to see. You would know better the differences from the original. I'm seeing if there's a big.
I don't remember baby oil.
Big difference.
I don't remember baby oil, so maybe.
Okay.
But again, I can't imagine there was an additional. I would hope I would have imagined. You know what it is? I think we might have watched a killer cut because that shot of watching the black guy with the axe in his back in the jacuzzi and it just lingers on that for a solid 10 seconds. I don't remember that shot lingering.
Okay, this makes me think we watched the killer cut because remember later on after our second prologue when the movie actually happens, we get that scene where it's day and they go into the camp and they search the cabins and then it cuts to something Clay and Danielle Panabaker, and then it cuts to them at night, and they're still searching the cabins. And remember, we were like, what are they doing? Apparently, them first going into Camp Crystal Lake when the sun is setting and checking the cabins for the sister. That's added in the killer cut. So I think we watched the killer cut. because we got an
Them
extra.
exploring the cabins was there in the theatrical though.
Yeah, so this adds a scene of it. I think that's why we were confused when we were watching it. We were like, they're still at the cabin.
So that could actually, so that could be possibly another 2. Okay, that's 2 minutes out of 9.
Yeah, this
Find 7 more minutes.
This says that added 1 minute. A 1.5 minute is.
Okay, we're at 2.5 minutes now.
Oh, something else that confused us. Jason throwing the tantrum and doing the grinding stone and seeing the flashback of the first prologue,
okay.
That's the killer cut. Because that was like, why are we seeing the flashback to the first prologue?
So what the killer cut does is just throw stuff. It's just throwing stuff in there.
It seems to be almost, trying to remind us of things that happened earlier in the movie.
It's making an alternate cut just for the sake of being able to sell an alternate cut.
Yes.
It's not anything they had to excise. It's just... It's a marketing
Yeah,
tactic.
apparently the whole scene where Whitney uses the GPS to break the handcuffs and she finds the room full of dead bodies, that is just in the killer cut.
Okay.
So we saw the killer cut. So hope the diehard fans
Okay, I hope somebody's happy.
are happy we watched I don't know, maybe they're upset we didn't watch the right version. That's true. We
should have watched the version that's 90 minutes. We should have watched the shorter version.
The movie did just start playing, like you said. I even said, it just started, and you're like, oh. We made no attempt to try and rewind it or anything.
This is kind of like a kidney stone. We just wanted to pass it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so you have the second prologue where you have, but that guy and the girl with the baby oil, they don't even seem like they're together. It's just kind of like happenstance.
It seems like it, yeah.
But you do have some fun moments with them.
Yeah, there's some weird dialogue that's funny. I think the thing that we have to bring up, Zach and I, this might be us losing our minds, but it's definitely a Blue Velvet reference.
Oh,
when they go, what are we drinking? And is it like that? Is it that shit like Heineken? He goes, no, this is Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Is this all we brought to drink? No Heineken or anything? Fuck that Euro shit. This is Pabst Blue American Ribbon, my friend.
That has to be a Blue Velvet reference. Exactly.
I want you to meet a friend of mine. Hey, Raymond, you get enough beer for Ben, too. What kind of beer do you like? Heineken. Heineken? Fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon!
But that's an odd reference.
Yeah, especially for
it's so
this movie.
And it's so spot on. You can't mistake that. Like, that's such a specific reference.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then, in Jason's cabin, we see the container of Calumet flour. We think it was flour from The Shining. Which, of course, we know, if Jeremy might not know, that one little bit of Calumet flour in The Shining implies that the entire movie is about the plight of the Native Americans and the colonists stealing their land, which is just, I think that's a fact. I mean,
we don't need IB.
If it's in room 237, it has to be true.
We do not need IMDb to corroborate that fact.
And so we see Calumet flour in Jason's cabin.
That, I think, was just us.
Yeah, and Zach and I are like,
conditioned.
Are we just losing our minds at this point? And then we even said it when he finds the decapitated ear. We're like, what is
Reservoir
that?
Dogs.
Is that Reservoir Dogs? Is that another Blue Velvet reference? So we had to calm down a little bit.
Also, we just hear stuck in the middle with you. Starts humming. We're like, where'd that come from?
Oh man, a quick tangent. I was in Pittsburgh before I came to see Zach, and on the last night I was there, I was hanging out with my buddy Phil, who was going to take me to the airport the next morning, and he was like, you want to watch something? I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, fine, whatever the hell you want. I should not have said that. That was a mistake, because he found on Netflix America the Motion Picture, which is a recent animated movie, which is basically like, a highly revisionist history, just goofy, nonsensical retelling of the Revolutionary War. And it's terrible. Like, it's the type of humor we hate, Zach. Like, Channing Tatum voices George Washington, Will Forte's Abraham Lincoln. You got, like, Jason Mantzoukas from The League. Like, it is horrible. Olivia Munn does one of the voices.
Oh, God.
It was so bad. But there's a scene, because Abraham Lincoln Benedict Arnold is a werewolf in it.
Oh.
It's terrible. I would never recommend it to anybody. But there's a scene when, like, George Washington is at his low point, and he, like, has a dream or some vision where he sees Abraham Lincoln, because in the beginning of the movie, Abraham Lincoln gets killed by werewolf Benedict Arnold. Okay. This is just as terrible as it sounds. And in the dream, it starts where it's all white, and George Washington's like, I can't see anything, and they do this joke where, like, Abraham Lincoln was shining a light in his face. He's like, I was trying to make it dramatic. When he takes the light away, he's just like, yeah, we're just in some, like, room or something. The room is exactly the warehouse from Reservoir Dogs. Right. It has the ramp on the left. There's even a chair with a straight razor and, like, blood on the floor. And the movie doesn't mention it. The movie is built on references. Like, the whole movie is just referential, stupid humor. And they don't mention that this is Reservoir Dogs. And I'm like, why not mention that? You know, why not have Stuck in the Middle of You playing? It was the weirdest thing. So if anybody's seen America the Motion Picture, I'm sorry. But also, there's a really weird Reservoir Dogs reference in it that makes no sense. That was my tangent. Have you ever heard of that? It was a Netflix thing. Oh, it was a Netflix thing.
Thank God.
It's the people who do Archer. It's the people who do
that. Okay.
I think some of the BoJack Horseman people. Yeah. It was so dumb. Supposed to be funny, not as funny as Friday the 13th Part 12. So that's it. I mean, the prologue is what? They fake us out with Whitney getting killed. Of course, we know she can't get killed.
But we have like a baby oil woman sit there, like get hugged, like in a sleeping bag, like what we were calling
the flame cocoon. Yes,
the flame cocoon. But like we know the camp. Like we were trying to figure that out because like we know the fire's there, and then like Jason starts cooking her, and we're just like, wait, was he like in the middle of the fire? Like, how did he do this?
Yeah.
And then look at the other guy, like, step in the bear trap that just somehow.
Yes. Bear trap, fire.
He gets his ear ripped off.
He gets his ear ripped off and he gets killed. And then, how's the boyfriend die?
Oh, he gets dragged.
Okay, yeah. They find Jason's bedroom. They find his bathroom that has Christmas lights.
Yes. Somehow. Powered somehow.
When Jason is stabbing the floor with the machete from below, Whitney decides to jump into the disgusting bath of unknown liquid. Which is probably blood, scum, like every terrible thing. I'm pretty sure, like when we were watching it, she jumps in there. I'm like, ew, you know.
And there's a toilet she could have jumped on. Exactly. Easily just sat in the toilet on the tank, and she would have been fine.
Yeah. It goes on so long. It's like they're trying to jam a whole slasher movie into that first 20 minutes.
You could almost make that its own short film.
Yeah.
There's enough happening.
And I think that's the dialogue was weird and stuff like that. You know, for the record, you're never going to drink my piss. And Wade just decides to tell us about the myth of Jason for no reason, you know, but it's not as cringy as some of the later dialogue is.
But, like, it's weird because, like, it feels almost, like, unnecessary.
Yeah.
It feels as if, they had shot just the, like, Danielle Panabaker, Jared Padalecki stuff, and audiences were confused.
Sure.
So they felt they had to add something to explain it.
Yes.
But if that's the case, like, you're pretty much, they almost shot, like, a whole mini movie.
Yeah.
Which makes me feel like maybe they filmed everything and, like, it came in at, like, 70 minutes. And I thought that wouldn't work.
Yeah, I could see that happening.
I could see them being like, okay, we're going to make this tight and quick. And then it's just like...
Too tight. Too quick.
I can see that happening. And it's like, okay, because there's a lot of stuff with the sister that just... Whitney, the sister, it just is, like, superfluous.
Yes, absolutely.
Like I said, at one point we literally have her escape to get captured, and they go right back. It's like, you did not need that. You could legit... And why keep that unless you're trying to pad the runtime?
Yeah, 100%. And they could have done something more clever with it, because, of course, Whitney runs to the cabin, where all our teens are, and she tries to get the attention of the two, Trent and... whoever the other one is.
Sex lady.
They're having sex, tries to get their attention, but it's not even like she tries to get their attention and fails.
She just runs up to the glass.
Jason is right there to get her. And I thought it would be interesting, like, as we even said earlier in this discussion, like, that's the early Friday the 13th. It's like, these kids are being punished for having premarital sex in some, metaphysical way in these movies. It would have been cool to, like, throw it on its head and say, oh, these kids aren't getting punished for having sex right now. This girl that they should be saving is getting punished because they're having sex. But the movie doesn't let that breathe. Like, it would have been great if we got some banging on the window and it'd be like, do you hear that? And be like, yeah, it's my heart beating for you, baby. Or some stupid line like that. But Jason's right there. He teleported right behind her.
But, like, you take her entire escape from the camp out of the film, it makes no difference.
Yeah, exactly.
Jason, it doesn't even create a continuity issue. Mm-hmm. And that's what leads me to believe that was tacked on. And then, like I said, some of this stuff just feel... I can even, like... I know Rob, like, kind of laughed at me over the years, being like how you, like, oh, the kills aren't even that good. In this, the kills are not good. Like, they're very unimaginative. They're very uninspired.
Yes.
It's simply just impaling. Everything is impaling.
Exactly. The only thing I like about the kills are the comedic timing of some of them, like the arrow to the back of the head of the dude in the boat. Oh, well, that's wonderful.
Well, that's what I mean, though. Like again, what? The only clever kill is the girl under the dock, and he just stabs the machete through it.
Yes.
And that's where, like, that is the only other kill. Every other character is just impaled. Mm-hmm. And like, it's like, you think of all the other Friday the 13th, like, literally Jason X, you have him taking, like, one girl and, like, you're in sleeping bags, and he's slamming him against a tree.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's funny. But, like, I feel like, I can imagine Michael Bay, going back to Rob's famous quote of all time about Ben Affleck asking him about, like, why wouldn't we just train astronauts to blow up the giant space meteor? And what did he say, Rob?
Why are we training astronauts to drill? Why wouldn't we train drillers to be astronauts? And Michael Bay said, shut the fuck up.
And that's the thing, where I could see them looking, especially considering that, like, Platinum Dooms, everything was supposed to be taken so seriously.
Yeah.
I could see them looking at the campiness and hokiness, which was 100% like in Freddy vs. Jason, 100% like in Jason Takes, not as much in Jason Takes Manhattan, but like slasher characters have become hokey at that point. And I could see them being like, oh, we're going to like deliberately make this as just like, oh god, straightforward and sterile like to character as possible.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, they kind of like, it backfired on them. Because there's a legit argument to be made that this is even goofier than any of the other Friday.
Exactly.
Unintentionally goofy.
Unintentionally. And I think that's probably why I love it so much as a comedy of errors, because they play it so seriously.
That's what I mean. Like, but again, you have those moments with like with the Asian guy Chewie.
It literally turns into slapstick when he has a hockey stick and he's breaking things in the woodshed or whatever.
Yeah. But again, like that, like you have that, and like why do you need that? Like not that you don't need it. But, like, it just feels superfluous.
Yes.
Considering that, like, you have all these moments, like, even, like, you have a blonde-haired guy, like, a Fuck Christmas t-shirt man, which we should talk about, which is hysterical in and of itself, and other blonde woman.
Yep.
And, like, you have the idea, like, they're driving in the car, and he's like, Trent should have known that the moment he told me not to drive, I would have driven it. What's that say about me? She's like, that makes you a sociopath. And he's like, yoo-hoo! And she then goes like, what does that say about me? That I find that hot.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like...
And that's the scene. Then it cuts away, and we're just like, okay.
Now, what does that say about me? That the second that Trent said, don't take my boat out, it was guaranteed that I would.
It means you're a sociopath. Now, what does it say about me that I find that hot?
Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's just there for the sake of being there.
Yes.
And then, like, you have, like, even the moment with the black dude, like, wanting to, like, jerk off, and he can't find any good, like, spank
That was so weird,
stuff.
because he's doing it in the common area, when he knows people are coming back. How fast can he masturbate? Like, what is going on in that scene? Like,
and it goes on.
Go to a bathroom. Go to a bedroom.
But, like, that's the thing. It's just, this movie feels horrible.
He turns around because he doesn't like the deer head looking at him. It's ridiculous.
It's that idea, like, everything about this feels so horribly uninspired.
Yes.
Like, even Jason, like I said, I know Rob's kind of laughing at, like, all different, like, iterations of Jason. I want Rob right now to go on Google, type in, like, different versions of Jason into Google Images, and, like versions, like you have the first one doesn't really count. Second one is the Elephant Man sack. Third one's the hockey mask.
Yes.
Third and fourth are identical. Fifth is not really Jason. Sixth is when he becomes a zombie. Seventh is when he becomes more of like a brute. And then you get like 8. And like you remember that from the game. Like every Jason kind of has its own flavor.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is legitimately just like a wife beater in like a jacket.
Yes.
And pants. And like, not even pants, just slacks. And, like, it's so... And you didn't get to think about it. He's also lit so weirdly that you never even get to get a good look at him. He's just always, like, poorly lit and just moving awkwardly.
Yeah.
He's shot awkwardly.
Yeah. I found a grid of the Jasons throughout the
Show
years.
Jeremy.
And
I want Jeremy
I love
to see
that
this.
they have the 1980, like, prosthetic doll that pops out of the water at the end.
The Mongoloid that pops out of the water.
Just, like, front frame, you know? But yeah, then they all have their own flair. The markings are a little different on the mask. The mask might be a little different color. The 1993 one,
that Jason Goes to Hell.
Jason Goes to Hell. That's the one where the mask is like
skin is like
burnt
melted
into his face. I love that look.
Skin's growing over.
Yeah. Jason X, of course, looks like a lizard man type of thing.
Well, that's weird because, like, you can see because in Jason X he's also Uber Jason.
Yes.
That's when he gets rebuilt. But like, this is very much like they're deliberately stripping it.
Yeah,
they're stripping it so much to make it like that's the thing. It's almost as if they intentionally made this film to be bland.
Exactly.
It's the old adage of like, you make a film for everyone, you make something for no one.
Yes.
Is that like, and that's the problem. Like, you give it no character to appeal to everybody, and guess what? No one can't find anything to latch onto.
That definitely. I know we've talked about that before, and I always say that, you know, or we've always said especially that, you know, you want a director with a vision and let them do their thing. I don't think Marcus Nispel has a vision.
But this is the thing, though. The 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre is so much its own thing.
That's true.
That
That's a good
feels
point.
like such a departure from that original film.
Yes.
And
that's more of a reimagining.
Yeah.
Like, this is a remake.
It's not even, you know, it just feels, it's like...
Or rehashing, almost.
Yeah, rehashing. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's just like, they're doing it because they can.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why you didn't get another Friday the 13th movie after this, like immediately, because I think they spent so much money on this, just thinking it was going to be a slam dunk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else horror movies came out in 2008. Like, I don't know what would have come before this that they would have felt like, because at that point, like Halloween 2, Rob Zombie Halloween 2 was 2007. That was noticeably less than the first Rob Zombie one. Again, Freddy had been out of commission since Freddy vs. Jason.
Yep.
And even the prequel to the remake for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think it did okay. It did fine, but like it probably didn't make as money as they wanted it to. I think that first one, the 2003 remake, did like $80 million, which is great for that time period. Everybody forgets that Freddy vs. Jason, the 2003 remake, like made almost the same amount of money. They both were extraordinary hits. They both came out within like 2 months of each other. One was August of 2003, one was October.
Mm-hmm.
Like I talk about really back to back, like just like again the genre was still there. Yeah, no. I honestly, if I had to guess, and I have nothing to go on this based on other than just my own intuition, understanding of Hollywood, this had to have lost them money. In a short-term sense.
Yeah.
And it feels like they got burned. And that's why they just backed off. And I think Nightmare on Elm Street just bombed. I think it's slightly better because Freddy's just more of an established property. And I think there was that curiosity factor of Jackie Earle Haley, especially after Watchmen.
Yes, of course.
I think there was that. It did slightly better, but still, it was very much not the barn burner they anticipated.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like you said, we're gonna get another Friday the 13th. We just don't know when.
But this is the thing, though, is that like this is the fact. Like, so we promise we'll get back to the movie, but like it's
we got teens to talk about.
I know, but like it's just weird though. Like we live in like you have to, like I look at it now. Like before, a couple years ago, it would be like they must considering that once again, Jason, Freddy. Well, I don't even know who has the rights to all this now. Like, they must be thinking about just getting all the rights to all this stuff. And just being like, okay, shared universe still being the magic phrase. Mm-hmm. And like, okay, like, what do we do with this? And like, I don't know, they must have kicked the tide. At some point, someone must have commissioned a Freddy vs. Jason. Like, even like a remake, I guess, in the sense of like just doing that again, like pitting them against each other. Because like, there's also the $1 million question of how do you ignore the success of Halloween 2018?
Yeah, exactly.
But guess what though? You took it very seriously and you paid homage, but you also had those weird goofy moments as Rob remembers. The idea of like the two cops sitting in the car being like, I got you a Vietnamese sandwich, but because you're white trash, I had it done with peanut butter and jelly. And it goes on, Jeremy's looking right now. He has this confused look. He's just like what? And it's like, and Rob, like, it goes on for like 5 minutes. It's like the movie just stops dead in its tracks to have this comedic beat. And it's so unearned.
And even you know, when I watched it, I actually kind of liked the Halloween 2018 version. I even thought it was goofy in the plot points, like when the doctor puts the mask on. Like after they hit the car, I know what they're going for, but I'm like, this is just ridiculous.
It doesn't work.
Yeah,
and the problem is that that's the thing though. Like they tried something different and it didn't work. I'm willing to forgive them if they're trying. But like you have those like in that movie also. We'll definitely Rob. Like okay, I always hate saying like putting like Monstober into motion before it happens. But like I was tempted to do Halloween 1978 this year because we had Halloween Kills coming out in October.
Yes.
But because of the timing, I think that comes out like mid-October. We have to really kind of just like kind of run that through. So I felt, but again, unless we have the world falls apart again for like the third time in like a year, we have Halloween Kills again, which would be the capper to this quasi trilogy.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that next year as in Halloween Kills again.
Sure.
Maybe the first time we did 4 movies at once. Or maybe we'll do 3, then 1 is its own episode. Who knows?
Sure.
But again, like this is the thing though. You have Halloween 2018, which was the definition of just like wow, like this is doing a number we never thought it could.
Yep.
And then it was doing a blockbuster number. And then you have the idea of like these legacy sequels, like as Rob will say, Space Jam 2. Where it's like, it's just like, we are just going to shit this through. Like, it's just that, like, this is excrement.
Yep.
And that's the thing. You have we're paying homage, and we're playing it pretty close to what we should be doing. And we're doing it well, overall. Then you have just we're doing this for the sake of doing it. We're doing it because we like money.
Yes.
But the thing about Friday the 13th though is that it doesn't have that Laurie Strode. It does not have. Think about it, Jamie Lee Curtis is one of those weird actresses right now in Hollywood where almost every generation appreciates her.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you have grandma and grandpa that not just like remember her from like Halloween.
But also the Activia commercials.
Well, yes, you're not wrong. But like, she's also getting like Hollywood royalty, as in like Janet Leigh, all of that, Tony Curtis.
Sure.
Then again, you have Activia, of course.
Yep.
But that ties into more like that same group. But you also have people who grew up with like the Freaky Friday remake from 2003,
Yep.
And they're like, oh. And that's the thing. Jamie Lee Curtis is like a ubiquitous actress. Everybody appreciates her. She hasn't done anything to ruin her career. You know, she's had a couple of weird movies. Everybody forgets. Like I remember again, that was part of the infamous rant from the final episode of 2018 for Cinemodities. Is that like Jamie Lee Curtis already went to reboot the Halloween franchise in H2O.
Yeah.
They already rebooted it and they killed her off in what was it, Resurrection.
Yep.
So like I never understood people got excited for the fact of her coming back. She's come back and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
But again, they took it seriously. It wasn't campy. It wasn't a modern reimagining for the 21st century. But again, Friday the 13th doesn't have that. The closest thing it has to that is Tommy Jarvis.
Yes,
Betsy,
that's right.
Betsy Palmer is dead. Plus, Betsy Palmer never. They apparently won her in Freddy vs. Jason, but they wouldn't cut her a large. Like they wouldn't pay her any money.
Mm-hmm.
They just kind of won her for like a free lunch, and she said no to that, according to Hollywood lore. It would be Tommy Jarvis, and the problem is that Tommy Jarvis is not ubiquitous to mass audiences.
Definitely not. I don't think I had any idea who he was when we started playing the game, and you were like, "Yeah, you know, when you die, you have a chance as a counselor. You have a chance to come back as Tommy Jarvis." And I'm like, "Who the hell is Tommy Jarvis?"
But this is one of those ones where like we live in that age now where you can get. It's that phenomenon now we live in. It's the Marvel phenomenon. Again,
yes.
Like, as we're recording this, Shang-Chi just came out. Nobody knows what that is.
Well, nobody knows what it is, but there are 10 rings in it.
10 bracelets.
There's 10. The title is telling me 10 rings. I'm very excited that there's 10 of them.
Well, you can be disappointed. But it's the idea that like we live in a world now where like you announce these things and you let the nerds that have the as much as I hate saying this, influencers do their job and sell the public.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's the thing. Like we do live in a world where like marketing isn't just simply there to just like sell a great product. Sometimes the marketing has to sit there, contribute as much as the production does.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I think you could do this. I think there's also the very real possibility that, like, if any, again, they want from the rumor is that Robert Englund will come back at some point.
Oh,
he wants his, as much as I think everybody loves Freddy vs. Jason, it's just like, again, another romp.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's always forever, and this goes back to Freddy's Nightmares, the TV series, the pilot of that show being the idea of like Fred Krueger being like in prison or being like the trial of that. Now that he's of that age to play that, I think he wants that so bad to do the dramatic aspect of it. Where it is his face, and that would be the first like 10-15 minutes of the movie. Then you go into Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
And I think he wants that really, really bad. I just think, once again, the studios are just terrified of just like... But again, it's also the fact, too, that like we've talked again before we started recording, that like that's no longer, Nightmare on Elm Street is no longer a studio property.
Yeah.
It's now like the property's in the hands of the original creator, Wes Craven, who is in Wet Day, and it's his family's estate that gets to decide. So somebody has to either pitch them a great idea, or they have to be written a check large enough that they just don't care.
Exactly.
And the thing about, too, even if you write them a large check, it's the idea that if it's a really bad movie, guess what? You've kind of tarnish the brand.
Yeah.
And that's why I would imagine, and plus too, you can think about like why bother risking it? Because as long as people can keep licensing things out, video games, toys, posters, why risk if you're already making let's say $25 million on licensing a year, why would you risk that? You know, you might make, I don't know, $50 million one year. Why would you risk burning that bridge?
Exactly. It's the you want to take the gamble or just stick with the consistent income. And I mean, it makes total sense.
And especially the last one was such a kind of a mess across the board.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. You're right about when you mentioned Freddy's Nightmares. I think there's a lot of fun stuff that they could do with that. But I'd want to see with Freddy. Perfect chance to get Mariska Hargitay to do something other than Law & Order SVU, which will never happen.
I know what's really funny. I was watching like a retrospective on Freddy's Nightmares, and people said that's one of the better episodes of that TV show.
It's wild.
It's weird. It's really weird.
That's I only watched a handful of that show, but I watched the Mariska Hargitay one because I was like, oh, Mariska Hargitay when she's young and not doing Law & Order. You know what was she like as an actress? And the first half of the episode is her as like a mortician, and she's seeing the dead bodies come to life, and it's like. Freddy is chasing her through the dead bodies, and then the episode takes a huge left turn, and it's revealed that the whole first half with the mortician stuff was a dream, and she's in like a sleep study, and the scientists are studying Freddy through her dreams, and I'm like, what the hell is happening?
I didn't know this. Apparently, like, that show was split into 2 different segments, where like, the first segment is one thing, and then like the plot twist is halfway through, like, oh, it's not what you think it was.
Oh, so they do that in like every episode?
Apparently. That's my... I've never... Like I said, Rob got me all that, but unfortunately that show has never been released in good quality.
Oh, no. It's Goosebumps quality.
It's Goosebumps vision. And like
it's not something worth watching in Goosebumps vision.
Well, there's no nostalgia for it. You're trying to fight... The problem is that, like, where Rob knows where everything... It's the reason why Rob loves Goosebumps vision, and I am very frustrated by it, because Rob knows where all the nooks and crannies are. I'm trying to experience this for the first time, and I'm just, like, kind of, like, baffled as to what I'm looking at. And it's hard to experience something as if, like, you want to emulate the experience of having cataracts.
Yes. Maybe we'll need Jeremy on for a future Goosebumps episode. We do it every year at the end of September. So I can give you Goosebumps episodes that are maximum 12 pixels. Like, the quality is terrible, and I love it. Okay, so I see what you're saying about everything, and who knows what we're going to get. I have so many ideas. I want,
I'm just like, just give me a video, give me a movie where I get my PlayStation trophies.
Yes.
He's like,
if I had to watch a movie that would finish up the damn
Rob's like,
Friday the 13th
Rob's like, I will buy the Blu-ray as long as there's a little code I can scratch and unlock my trophies. I'll be happy.
That damn, like, 0.01% of people have it, the 1,000 Jason thing. No, I'm even thinking, like I mentioned Annabelle before. I want, like, a Friday the 13th movie where they kill maybe they chop Jason's head off at the end, but it's still moving, and then it's somehow revealed, like, in a Men in Black type twist that, like, Annabelle is in its chest controlling him or something. I think that'd be wonderful. Go goofy with it. Like this movie. It's goofy. And I think, are we going to talk about our teens? We gotta talk about our teen characters. I love our teen characters. I don't know, Jeremy, anything about the franchise as a whole? Are you learning a lot about Friday the 13th?
Quite a bit.
Okay.
More than I ever expected.
Any thoughts from Babu Frik?
Babu's happy.
Okay, right on. Okay, so we mentioned them all briefly. I think the one that basically doesn't matter, which is upsetting to me, is Danielle Panabaker. I love seeing Danielle Panabaker.
Like, that's okay.
She has nothing to do. Her face is crooked in this movie. She looks very weird to me. And I said this while we were recording or watching the movie, and you guys are like, "Okay, Rob, yeah."
But she's like, I remember like finding out she was in this, and I'm like, "Oh, okay," because I remember her from Stuck in the Suburbs, another one of those films that was very close to being talked about on Cinemati's until like Rob and I both watched. I rewatched it. Rob watched it, and we were like, "This is okay." There's literally nothing to talk about in this movie. Like, it would be like a draw. We couldn't even make fun of it. Like, there's goofy moments, but like it's so earnest.
Yep.
It's like you're just kind of just like laughing at a kid riding a tricycle and falling over. It's like you're more of a bad, like it's trying, so you can't really like make fun of it. Except for what's his name? SNL man.
Taron Killam.
Yeah, he's amusing in that. But no, so like I remember her again from her Disney Channel days, and then like seeing this, and being like, oh, and I can still remember in the theater when she gets impaled, being genuinely shocked because she's the good girl.
Yeah, I was shocked that none of our teens make it out. The only Supernatural guy and Whitney.
They're more adult, like really. It feels like they're adults. Or everybody else.
I thought for sure Danielle Panabaker was going to make it. Like, 100%.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, somebody who loves, like, and this is me back in 2009, because at this point, I wasn't as steeped as I am now, but I still understood the genre, how things work. You never have three. You never have an odd number.
Sure.
It's always the man and the woman.
Yeah.
If you're even allowed that. You never have three walk out. That means you have an impotent villain. So, like, I remember sitting there just being like, okay, like, Panabaker's clearly being set up to be the love interest.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the sister has been kept alive, so it'd be weird to kill her off now. And then you have Supernatural guy, so it's like, okay. But at the time, I remember just kind of like, okay, how'd they get their way out of this? And then when they killed her, I was like, man. But like, even though she's the good girl, relatively speaking, she kind of doesn't do anything.
No, yeah, that's why I wanted to start
along.
with her. She has nothing really to do. I think
she has no romance to any of the male characters. Like, she has and we know douchebag guy wants to sleep with her, and she very much is she literally walks away.
Yeah,
she walks out of the scene.
I was thinking I think when they get back into Jason's tunnels and they're trying to free Whitney from the handcuffs, I was thinking to myself like, Danielle Panabaker's had like 10 lines of dialogue in this movie. She has so little to do.
She doesn't have anything, and it feels weird that her character is there.
Yes, and she looks strange to me.
I know, Rob.
I don't know. Maybe it's seeing the Disney kid grown up into adult. I'm just like, you're too big now. You know.
She also again. I don't know what she's done recently, but I remember a few years ago, someone told me to watch the Flash TV show.
Oh yeah.
And she has a large role in that. Not even large, but she has a decent role in that. And she's just even weirder than that. It's not even a really good role for her. She's there.
Okay.
It's a paycheck for her, but it's not. She's a secondary character. She's not a protagonist.
She's born on September 19th. Her birthday's coming up. At the time of this recording, not
What's she done recently besides The Flash?
In 2005, she was an episode of Law & Order SVU called Intoxicated. I remember that episode. She kills her drunk mother. That's not a bad... Oh. She was in Law & Order LA? I gotta rewatch that episode. So it looks like she's in 2 episodes of Supergirl from 2018.
That's because of the crossover.
Legends of Tomorrow, The Flash, 2014.
So she's simply a DC TV actress.
Yeah, a lot of her credits from 2014 on are
DC
Killer
TV.
Frost in the DC TV stuff. And in 2018, she was in something called Christmas Joy, which does not have a Wikipedia page. It's a television film.
Or probably a Hallmark or a Netflix movie.
Yeah, movie was This Isn't Funny in 2015 is the last movie she was ever in.
Which is a non-existent film.
Okay, yeah, so she's not really doing much.
Well, no, she's a TV actress now.
Basically.
And
she
she's
just has that one role.
in that first season of, again, I know The Flash is really gone nuts with other things since then, but in that first season, she's just like a bump on a log.
Oh, she directed 3 episodes of The Flash. Good for her.
Okay,
good for her.
So she's become more of a behind-the-scenes person.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
right on.
Yeah, good for her.
But yeah, she has nothing to do in this movie. I guess we'll run through the other women. One sex lady
They're
dies.
both sex ladies.
Well, one gets in a boat scene and gets hit with a little forward action, which we have to talk about.
That is pretty good. Watching the Fuck Christmas Man, because for the record, you want to do real quick? I don't want to put Jeremy on the spot, but Jeremy, we keep saying this. Can you please tell us about blonde, doofy haired man in the T-shirt he's wearing? Will you please just tell the audience at home, so as an objective third party?
Yes.
Can you please just tell the audience what it is that we're referencing?
Let's see. So
you can use 2 sentences, 3 if you have
to. Let's see. He's driving a boat and he gets hit in the head with an arrow.
That's his character. Yeah.
That's his character.
And for some reason, he's wearing a shirt that says "Fuck Christmas," but the "fuck" is asterisk. The U and the C are asterisked out.
I like to imagine the MPAA told them that they couldn't have it, so they had to digitally go in every shot and put asterisks on the 2 middle letters.
Yeah, no, that is his character. He's one of the first teens, if not the first teen to die.
Well, not counting the second prologue.
Oh yes, of course, not counting the second prologue of our main group in the 3rd movie.
Yeah, he is the first one to die.
He's the first one because he kills the hick before. We'll have to get to the hick.
Oh god,
and the mannequin scene. We'll get to that. But yeah, his character is set up to die, and he doesn't have really much to do.
Even how his death is cut together.
Yes,
it's she's okay. It's the thing. She's wakeboarding topless because why not?
Mm-hmm.
And but that's one of those things where oh god, how did that happen? Do you think that was in the script? What does that add? Having her, she's whoever that actress is, she's an attractive woman.
Yes.
Having her with a top on is not, is that going to bring, is someone going to be like, you know what? I kind of was on the fence about this, but now there's somebody topless in it besides the first lady from the second prologue. And you know what? I got my money now. It's like I'm going to go see it now. It's why? It's just a peculiar choice. Clearly any actress would prefer not to be topless for many reasons, but okay.
It makes me think of what is it? Piranha 3 Double D. There's someone.
Wasn't that another? Who was in that? Was that Danielle Panabaker again?
No, I didn't see that on her.
Who's in Piranha 3 Double D?
We'd have to find out who the hell's in that. But I remember there's a nude, or not nude, but a topless.
Danielle Panabaker.
Topless.
I'm almost
Holy
certain.
shit, you're right.
Yes!
Holy shit, you're right.
I knew that was her.
She's not.
All right, we're doing Piranha 3 Double D right now. Jeremy, get back. Get the DVD player primed. We're talking about.
I feel like there's a topless wakeboarding scene in that movie, but it's a porn star. It's an actual porn star.
Somebody that wouldn't mind. Well, that happened in Piranha 3D.
Oh, okay, I might be confusing.
Where they actually hired, they had one actress and the other one was a legit, porn star.
Yes, yeah, I might be confusing them because they're only 1D apart.
Indeed. Indeed. That's my comeback for all the Tron references between Ben and Rob how many months ago. I do want to say, as we were watching this, and we had the your tits are stupendous gratuitous sex scene.
Yes.
I was thinking about, like, the reason why we, like I said in the earlier part of this discussion, I picked this. I wanted to pick something nostalgic, something you remember, a fun romp. And then I remembered, man, I should have done Piranha 3D.
Technically, that would fit into Monstober. You know, the piranhas are the monster.
I know, and Jeremy didn't see that either.
Yep.
And that was that was an interesting movie-going experience.
That would also
well.
okay. Maybe that's one I'll have to put in the spreadsheet to remind us for next year, because that is also what is also you gave me with Spring Breakers.
That's Piranha 3 Double D.
Okay. So
but remember, the greatest...
The D's are throwing me off.
I know. But remember, Piranha 3D has the greatest... Has another... It's almost up there with... oh, God. Where Are You Gun?
Okay.
And on top, it has the moment of... DJ Chocolate Thunder, spin that shit, and it just comes out of nowhere. And like you remember, you and I didn't even sit together for that because you came in later with Jarrett, and we're just like you can just hear him and I. It's very similar to Rob's infamous Rise of Skywalker story where he just audibly exclaimed
for the spy,
or just you hear him and I just laughing. It's just like DJ Chocolate Thunder,
oh my God,
spin that shit. If you can find that clip, please insert that.
Yes, I'll have to.
And I think that's Eli Roth too. That's the fun part. It's Eli Roth. I think that was the thing. Like he just randomly shows up for no reason.
What the fuck?
This is the Lake Victoria Sheriff's Department. The sheriff has declared an emergency.
Don't worry, we got P over here!
Hey, get up out of there! I need you out of the water now!
Yeah! Hit it, DJ Chocolate Thunder!
But yeah, Piranha 3D, like that's another one that's on this. It's on this tier, just like Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, that's
Jerry O'Connell.
That's
Jerry
right,
O'Connell,
yes.
possibly like an Oscar caliber performance.
Man, okay. When you mentioned just
Jerry O'Connell,
just because you mentioned Jerry O'Connell, we were in my parents' house. It dug up a memory that I don't know if I ever told you because it's probably so repressed. But younger, years ago, when I was living here, I remember like watching TV with my parents, and I think like Jerry O'Connell came on screen in a commercial or something, and my dad went, "Jason Bateman looks terrible," and I was like, "That's Jerry O'Connell." I just remember that now, and that was so funny. Jason Bateman looks terrible. Oh man. Okay.
That was good.
So sex woman, stupendous tits. I guess we call her.
Stupendous tits.
She dies. Oh, she's the one that gets hung up on the bathroom.
She's weird because she starts because that's the thing too. Like they're having sex. Sister Whitney bangs on the window.
Yep. Jason takes her away immediately.
Yeah. Then like next thing we know, like Jared Padalecki and Danielle Panabaker walk in, and Trent Douchebag Man is completely dressed as if nothing happened. Like he looks like continuity-wise the same, like before he went to the bedroom. And then we see Stupendous Tits walks out like with like a button-up shirt.
Yeah.
Which you would think would be his, but it can't be because he's wearing his shirt. And it's just that like it's clearly the post-coitus look.
Yeah.
And then like obviously like the black guy goes out with his walk Captain America shield.
Yes.
Which is gonna be my Halloween costume, you guys. Dibs. That in like a fire poker.
What are you dressed up as? You ever see Friday the 13th Part
12? So like you have that, and like Stupendous Tits gets like what? She just gets like it goes into mental breakdown mode.
Oh yeah, she starts freaking out, and we're like, "Where did this come from?" She's like rocking back and forth, and she's like, "Oh yeah." There's a scene where it cuts to her, and she goes, "Shut up!" And we're all like, "Nobody's saying anything."
There's no sound.
Yeah.
Shut up!
And then, like, we see her, like, she goes to a bathroom. We would assume it's somewhere upstairs.
Yes.
And then, like, she goes into the bathroom, walks into the bathroom, like looks, and it's a small bathroom, but it's, like a one-person-sized bathroom. Like, it's not a large one.
Yeah.
We see her, like, go up to the shower curtain.
Mm-hmm. We see the windows open.
Yes, we see the windows open. But, like, it's the definition of, like, what would you call that, Rob? Like, we're looking at Rob's downstairs window now. It's, like, that window is what, maybe 3 feet by 3 feet?
Sure.
There's no way look up, anybody, please Google, Rob, would you please Google Derek Mears' height?
Oh, yeah, he's a big dude, yeah.
There's no way, like, I'm pretty sure none of us could fit through a 3 by 3 foot window, especially on the second floor.
No.
We would be very hard pressed to do that.
He's 6'5".
Yeah, okay.
Jeez.
He's got to weigh at least, what, 220 pounds at least?
I would, yeah, because he's in a...
No weight on file?
187.39 pounds from Wiccan Bio?
I have no idea what that is.
Actually, keep talking, Zach.
I know you're
I'm going to look
talking.
up Tadler. I'm going to go to our very nice Tadler.com and look up Derek Mears. But yeah, nobody's fitting through that window. And also, there's like empty bottles in front of the window that Jason seemingly didn't knock over, or if he did, he put them back up.
And what happens is that the camera cuts, we see her pull back the shower curtain, he's behind her, and he it looks like he's about to strangle her, like crush her windpipe.
Yes.
But he doesn't do that. He hangs her on like a towel hook.
Yeah.
And that seems to kill her.
Yes.
And that's also...
I guess it would puncture... It wouldn't... I don't know if it would puncture a lung or something.
Maybe she died from the shock? I don't know.
I'm very sorry to say, Derek Mears does not have 0 results on Tadler. I am very upset about this.
Can you please explain to Jeremy what Tadler is?
Tadler is a website which is kind of not true half the time we've found.
It's questionable at best.
It's very questionable, but for a lot of celebrities, you can look up their page and it gives you almost all the information you need to know about them. Like height, weight, spouses, what cars they own.
Whether they smoke cigarettes.
What do they smoke or not, whether they have tattoos, that type of thing. And we love this website because it's ridiculous. Because I'm here, going to look up Daniel Panabaker.
Of course. Okay, everybody, let's take a bet. Do you think Daniel Panabaker smokes?
Ooh, I think so. I'm going to say yes while the page is loading.
She's like a bad girl, like a good girl gone bad.
And I feel like if you get through the Disney era, you have to be a smoker, I think.
You're smoking something.
Ooh, it says no, never.
Really?
It says no, never.
Is she married to like a Christian man? I feel like she might be like married to like a country singer or like a Christian like rock artist.
Relationship status. Dating since 2010.
How much does that mean this was updated? This feels like almost like Wikipedia.
No idea.
I feel like this is something that Wikipedia should be. Okay, consult Wikipedia about this. The smoking thing is very alarming. I don't believe that. I'm calling shenanigans on this, folks.
Just to say in the family relationships. So relationship, dating since 2010, sexuality straight, current boyfriend Zachary Abel.
Oh, that sounds like a country music
Okay,
artist.
this is getting weird. Ex-boyfriends or ex-husbands? 2 are listed. Jesse McCartney.
Okay,
that sounds believable,
That's
right?
Disney Channel
Second
stuff.
one, James Woods.
All right, come on, Rob, investigate it. Real-time fact check.
I don't know. I kind of just want to think that James Woods was dating Daniel Panabaker at some point. They gotta have at least 20 years between each other.
Rob, James Woods is the human equivalent of a cigarette.
That's a good point. Okay, Wikipedia says she's been married since 2017 to Hayes Robbins, who does not have a Wikipedia page. Okay.
We have to see. Come on, Rob, investigate.
I'm gonna do a James
Woods Daniel Panabaker search.
Oh, God, I searched James on her Wikipedia page, and it linked to one of the cited articles. And I have no. It's about something she starred in with James Woods. I don't know if I want to know more.
What's the age difference? Find the age difference.
That's a good question.
But she was what, 90?
Yeah, so she was born in 87.
Oh, wow.
So she's...
she was 22 in this.
She's 33 now. Well, she'll be 34 by the time of this recording, because we mentioned her birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday,
James Woods, I mean, Wikipedia is going to say something like, immortal or something like that. Takes the power of cigarettes. He was born in 1947, so they have 40 years between them.
Oh my God!
Please
just Google Daniel Panabaker James Woods relationship or dating, whatever buzzword you want to use. We need to know. We need to know the facts.
The word Danielle does not appear anywhere on James Woods' Wikipedia page.
Well, if they just dated, it's not going to be on his Wikipedia page. Please.
Oh no.
Oh no! Yes!
Oh God! What the fuck is this even saying? So this is from who'sdatedwho.com. So who'sdatedwho.com/dating/Danielle Panabaker and James Woods. Sources: 1. Compatibility, 2 hearts out of 5, 49%. James Woods and Danielle Panabaker had an encounter in July 2008. And then it just seems to give some bios.
Reference, celeb buzz.
Okay. James Woods and Danielle Panabaker.
They dated for a month. I
think this just gave me the homepage of Celeb Buzz. Yeah, so the link's gone. But look, when I Googled this... I couldn't find this on the page. This is Panabaker and Woods short-term relationship. We're seen together in New York in Feb 2009. Oh, that might be the image flavor text or something. In 2008, there were rumors that Woods was dating Danielle Panabaker if they were pictured together near a lunch outlet.
So it's possible.
This is not the information I wanted to learn
40
during this recording.
40-year age difference.
That's pretty wild.
That's hot. All right, that derails this
And
movie.
it was when she was 20. In 2008.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow. And not... according to Meaw? MEAWW.com, this article says they were pictured together at a lunch outlet, and continues to say, Panabaker was just 20 at that time, and not just that, paparazzi even caught the couple sharing a lip lock. Where do we find this picture?
I don't know, in hell?
This is like, I'm glad I'm on my parents' Wi-Fi to take this.
Rob's like, the VPN is turned off here.
I searched Danielle Panabaker, James Woods kissing. I don't know if that is Danielle. That's definitely James Woods. I don't know if that's Danielle Panabaker because she's not facing the camera. But man, okay, we've uncovered things I wish we did not uncover in this.
40 oh, God.
Okay. So yes, we were on the topic of...
Robert Hustle, can I ask you a question? Which is grosser? Which would you rather like to do? See Danielle Panabaker and James Woods kiss, or step into the, like murky, scummy water in Jason's bathroom mother shrine?
Both are going to kill me slowly, so I can't use the quick and painless way out of this.
Remember, you can always wash the muck off.
Exactly,
of you.
I think that's what I'm thinking.
There's bleach.
Yeah,
Bleach
I think
exists.
I might even go further to say I'll do something like the ice bucket challenge with Jason's dirty bathroom rather than see that picture or see it in person. I also have to say, just because Wikipedia, we said she's married to someone else in 2017, we get the question on Tadler: will the relationship of Danielle Panabaker and boyfriend Zachary Abel survive 2021? I think we know the answer. It didn't work out.
That picture of James Woods and Danielle Panabaker is a Horcrux.
Just to finish up, Danielle Panabaker's Tadler hairstyle, sexy.
Ooh.
Distinct feature, cheeks, which I guess I could see.
Okay. Did she have a sister that was also a Disney Channel?
She has.
I remember that name showing up again.
Kay Panabaker is her sister, and I do not know
Did
who
she
that
also
is.
date James Woods?
Google says she is an American zoologist.
Really?
Yeah, and let's see what she was in, because I feel I've heard that name too.
Yeah, she was a Disney Channel for a little while. I remember there was two Panabakers floating around.
She was in Phil of the Future.
Okay, there you go.
So, yeah, absolutely. Oh, and she was in the ABC Family movie Cyberbully, about stopping cyberbullying, which I've heard a lot about. That's another one I gotta check out. Okay. So this all came from Stupendous Tits Girl. She sees a window that Jason could not fit through, looks in the shower curtain, he's not there, whoa, he's behind her, hangs her on a hook, which I do have to say, I've performed that kill in the video game before,
yes,
so that was a little fun, I guess.
But that's also, too, like that's Halloween, where, remember this, the boyfriend, in the, well, I haven't seen Halloween, when was the last time you saw Halloween proper?
The original?
Yeah.
Jeez.
There's the
I
kill
don't know if I've ever gotten through the whole thing again.
There's a kill in the original Halloween that's very reminiscent.
Okay.
So
I don't know if Jeremy knows this, because I think I told it when we did Friday the 13th Part 9. My dad had me watch the original Halloween when I was 7 or 8 or something. And it scared the shit out of me. And that's why I stayed away from horror for a really long time. So I don't think I've ever went back and revisited it. So more fuel to the fire.
It's going to be a fun
that.
Monstober 2022.
Yes. But that's how she dies, and she's out there.
But you have that moment, and that's okay. There's really nothing comical about that.
Yeah.
But the thing that's funny is we have a douchebag man, and we have him, and he gets a gun. And he opens a closet door, shoots the closet because he sees two shoes facing outwards. Then they hear a thud in the bathroom. Mm-hmm. He shoots the bathroom door, tries to open it, sees Stupendous Tits lifeless body there,
slumped over,
and leans back in and goes, "She's dead. He got her."
Very matter of factly, he's like, "She's whatever her name."
He got her.
The tits are dead. Let's go. Basically, and then just.
The fuck, you got a gun? Let's go now. What are you doing? Give me the gun.
Someone's in there.
Check it out.
Bree said he killed Bree.
Right off the bat, he's ready to go.
And I love the idea. Like, I would have preferred it in a way that if he shot her. Like, maybe she was still moving and he just shot her
Oh,
twice.
that would have been great. Yeah, if she was, like, gagged or couldn't, like, talk for some reason and he's
a douchebag.
She's thumping and trying to get somebody's attention and he just unloads 3 bullets in her back, you know? Yeah, that would have been wonderful. But that's all she is, and she has a sex scene. But the first girl, the other, not Stupendous Tits, the one who gets hit by the boat.
Oh, yes.
Hit by a boat. That's a great scene. I love
that
people
whole
getting
scene.
hit by boats.
Even he, like douchebag man with the Christmas shirt, he sits there like she's wakeboarding without her top on. She falls off, even though we see her strapped in, which makes no sense.
And the editing really makes it look like she jumps off, which is terrible.
And on top of that, like after that happens, he turns around to go pick her up. He goes, "Whoa!" Like Rob will insert the clip. Whoa! And then thwack.
Yes, it's a great like smash cut of violence.
But like it's almost like on a level of just like Foley like design.
Yes,
it's very reminiscent of Ted Bundy. Like holy shit, look at that thwack!
Yeah.
It's that same level of like there's like that rhythm pacing to it.
Yes,
like I would say it's the predecessor to holy shit, look at that.
Okay,
thwack.
okay.
I would like Rob that when he's editing this, please like put those back to back so we let the audience decide.
Thank God I have more than a month now to edit these things.
Thanks for the ride, I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Where are you headed?
Silver Canyon? How about you?
Me too. Are you from around here?
Nah. Holy shit, look at that.
Oh yeah, no, that's a good point. I wasn't even thinking about that, because whenever someone's gonna get hit by a boat, I can only think, you gotta hit him with a little of that reverse action.
Al! Wake up, Al! Wake up!
I got a wake-up call for both you motherfuckers. It's called a little reverse action. Check it out.
Don't you do this,
There
Donnie.
you go, fucker. Fuck you. Fuck off. I thought you were unconscious, Big Al. And I thought you were supposed to be a badass, Johnny.
But we get forward action and still good. And I do have to say, like you said earlier, the kill of the downward stabbing through the pier into her head, and then like Jason like using the pier as almost like the thing to like get her off of his machete. That is probably the most interesting kill in the movie, because at least it's visually like, wow, you know, what did I just see? It comes out of nowhere. It is a jump scare, which we have so many of in this movie, but at least there's
something
mildly interesting. Yeah,
I even like the idea, like the boat turns around and she sees it coming toward her. You think her reaction would be to swim away from it?
Oh yeah, and she's like, "Oh, you're playing around with me," and then just thwack.
I like to imagine. I think we talked about this like back 12 years ago. Think about it, that boat just kept like going, man.
Yeah, we never see it crash or anything.
You think at some point we would see it, like because like we're led to believe that like the boat's on the other side of the lake.
Yes,
so it'd be great if, like we saw like at one point just like all hell's breaking loose. We see the boat just like just ram the dock and just go airborne.
That's like something from a Mel Brooks movie where in the beginning like a car goes or a horse like that's got to be in some like western thing when a horse and buggy goes off and then later in the movie you see it in the background still going, you know.
That's what I mean. At some point that boat had to crash.
Yeah, you missed some opportunities with this Friday the 13th Part 12. So those are good. Those are I think all our women. Other than Whitney, who doesn't have anything to do except be stupid and run away and get captured and get captured or freed again.
Should we talk about the men now?
Yes, we got to talk about the men. So we talked about Fuck Christmas Guy. He's there to die. That's fine.
Yeah, he's cut and dry.
My favorite two characters in the movie are probably the black guy and the Asian guy, who it turns out the Asian guy's character's name is Chewie, which I didn't realize until like two-thirds of the way through the movie.
I remember for the longest time, if you look up on Wikipedia for the movie, like there's a picture of him like signing autographs at a horror convention, and it's like actor, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
He's highly praised for his performance as Chewie, Friday the 13th, 2009. I'm like, what?
It's like, well, you know, you need something on your IMDb, bio, right? But he was great. He was the only one that seemed to know what kind of movie I wanted this to be, but he's like the classic stoner, but he has some funny stuff. I mean,
shoot the boot.
Shoot the boot, of course. I'm sure this is going to come up when we talk about snacks, but he apparently him and the black guy beat Trent and Stupendous Tits at beer pong 10 times in an afternoon. That's a lot of beer pong. And they say, you lost 10 times. That doesn't mean that he sunk, 10 cups or something. No one would say that. So they've just been playing beer pong alone in this cabin
for the
whole
2 hours.
afternoon. Yes,
2-3 hours. Yeah.
And so when they lose, they say, okay, apparently the punishment for losing 10 times in a row at beer pong is you have to drink beer out of Chewie's shoe.
Yeah.
And which he was not wearing a sock for,
Thank you.
which we're told, and it's pretty gross. And Zack mentioned it while we were watching it, which I thought immediately, why would you ever pour a liquid into your shoe? I cringed physically. I don't, when you get, it's raining a lot, you get, wet socks, that's one of the worst feelings. I've told my own students that we should get days off when that happens, because I don't like that so much. And could you imagine, because Chewie's the one who eventually does drink the boot, he shoots the boot, could you imagine putting that back on? Oh, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. That's the goriest thing in this movie, as far as I'm concerned. But then, so he dies with slow spike through the neck in the woodshed because he wants to hit on Stupendous Tits and burns his lip on
that scene. I've never understood that scene. That is such a weird scene.
Yes,
in this movie.
yes, very much.
She's just kind of awkwardly gyrating, drunk, and then he goes up to her with the shot of whatever liquor it is.
Yep.
She lights it on fire. And he burns his lip and breaks a chair.
Yes, falls backwards. And he's like, my lip, and he's like, Trent's like, that was a family heirloom. And then he's like, I can fix it, and he goes to the woodshed, and then we get that little button where the black guy's like, that's an ugly fucking chair.
Fuck, dude, you just broke my dad's fucking chair!
My fucking lip!
I don't care about your fucking lip, this is a family heirloom! Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Fuck!
I can fix this. I just need some tools. He can fix it.
You know what, you better pull some MacGyver shit. Alright, go to the tool shed. It's down the path.
Yeah, okay.
Trent, I'm sorry, man.
You won't be disappointed. They don't call me the Wood Wizard because I masturbate a lot.
Grab a flashlight, you fucking idiot.
Forget about it. I'll fix it. Let's go finish this.
It's an ugly fucking chair anyway.
And Chewie's, I didn't want Chewie to die, And I was even thinking hopefully we get something like the stoner from Cabin in the Woods where Chewie's not dead and there's a reveal and he helps him out or something just to see him more, but no, he's gone.
This is too cut and dry for that.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's gone. He has some funny stuff. I think one of the first line from our group of teens after the two prologues is when they open the back of the truck and he goes, babies have more room in the uterus or something like that. So he's great. I think I said while we were watching it, I want the whole movie to just be him. If it was him versus Jason, where most of it is him just talking to himself and finding liquor in a cabin, I would have been all about it.
What was he drinking? You got really upset that he was just taking shots of it?
Yeah, Lagavulin. He was chugging Lagavulin, and I'm like, Lagavulin is a sipping, scotch, and it's also disgusting. That's where I said before the movie becomes slapstick. He finds a hockey stick. He smashes a light bulb and all the glass falls, but the light bulb is still flickering for the rest of the movie. It makes no sense. But I don't know, anything about Chewie? Did we miss anything?
Nah.
I think the one thing, which is more about all the teens, and is going to maybe get worked into snacks, Trent gets mad at them for playing an outside game indoors.
Yes.
From what I can tell, the outside game that they're playing is not one I've ever seen or heard of. What I'm gathering is that, Chewie, turned around or covered his eyes, and the other teens, shook up a bunch of beers except one, and he had to, pick a beer and open it next to his eye.
It's a weird form of Russian roulette.
Yeah, and it's if you pick up the beer that isn't shaken up, you're just going to get a beer, but if you pick up the one that's going to shoot in your eye.
You get a mess, yeah.
And I'm just I've never heard of that before. And what kind of game is that? It's a waste of beer. So that's the last Chewie thing I had. And of course, it seems like his best friend is the black kid, whose character name I never learned throughout the movie. I just know he does not want to be stereotyped. Did you pick up his name? Do we know his name? Okay.
He has a name. He does have a name, I just don't know.
That brings me to the very beginning of our teens. Some of that shit is really cringy at the Outpost. When he's like, you think that's a good look, Trent? Asking the black guy to pump your gas and stuff like that? And I'm just like, oh no.
It goes nowhere, though.
No, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, it's very, and he can let the other girls be like, oh, like, what's your record label? It's like rap?
The rap.
Why do you think it's rap? You trying to profile me? And he's like, yeah, it's rap.
Just because I'm black, I can't lose to Green Day?
Then we have the delicious needle drop right at that moment.
Is anyone getting a signal out here?
You fuck with me right now? Got business I gotta do this weekend.
What business?
Music. Trying to start a label.
Oh, yeah? Like what kind? Like rap?
Why you gotta go racial? Look, don't put me in a box, all right? What, because I'm black I can't listen to Green Day?
You're right, that was dumb. So, what kind of music?
Rap.
Generic needle drop.
Oh, so many terrible, too loud needle drops in this movie, absolutely.
But can we please talk, besides Trent, can we please talk about the second best male character in the film?
Oh, okay, our not teen, our hick. What do we call him? He's a hick, right?
Yeah,
he's
redneck.
He's a doofus, redneck hick.
Oh, he's great.
He apparently doesn't know how to properly cure and produce marijuana.
Rob, okay. Jeremy probably remembers Sal from high school. Right? Remember Sal?
Oh my God, that's right, Jeremy. You are the first person ever on this podcast that actually knew Zack and I back when we knew each. Everybody else has had less history with me. I didn't even think of that.
But bring this back to Sal.
God.
Do you remember a point in high school where Sal thought, okay, because remember, at one point, Sal was obsessed with marijuana, the idea of it.
Yes.
And Sal was convinced smoking marijuana was you take the leaf and you roll it up and you just light it on fire. And somehow that's how you smoked marijuana.
Yes, sure.
I think that is the same logic that goes into Hickman.
Yeah.
I think that same principle is like marijuana is just you inhale a leaf it's like incense almost. You just like, you light it on fire and you go near it.
Yes, yeah, it seems like that. Which you make a good point. You know, what would be the point of this movie to get into the finer details of this guy, trimming and hanging weed to let it dry so it's actually smokable? Nobody cares about that. Now, if Jason started to get high at a certain point, I would have been all about that.
That'd be
of course does not happen.
That'd be fascinating if that were the case. Like Jason just getting high, like that'd be a fascinating take on the character.
Yeah, how about that? We do a like Friday the 13th Part 13. Where, people are, like, Jason tries to kill a bunch of junkies, and they try and make them OD. They just hit him with a bunch of needles or something.
That kind of happens in Freddy vs. Jason. That's
okay.
Kind of.
Okay.
That's a topic for
But
another
yes,
day.
this character,
it's almost,
wonderful.
it's superfluous.
Oh, absolutely.
There's no reason for this character to exist.
He's there to die. He's even there to die less than the Christmas guy.
I don't like, okay, there's the infamous case, I think it was Friday the 13th it's either part 2, 3, or 4.
Okay.
But there's the overweight girl eating the banana on the side of the road and Jason kills her.
Okay.
You've probably seen that.
I feel like that rings a
everyone's
bell.
just like, oh, Jason will do anything. You don't have to do anything to get Jason to kill you.
Okay.
At least she's just sitting there eating a banana and it's just almost like it's inexplicable. It's like, okay, Jason just murders anything.
Maybe he doesn't like gluttony. Maybe he doesn't like bananas like me. I don't like bananas.
Whatever it is. It's the idea that, like, this guy's... somebody had to write all this dialogue.
Yes.
Because there are so many inexplicable, just jarring lines of dialogue from him. Like I said, like what's he say to Jared Padalecki about the weed? He's like, I'll fuck you up, man.
He'll fuck you up, man. Yeah, and because, like, Jared Padalecki comes up and he's like, I'm looking for my sister. Where's she at? He's like, nah, man, I never seen her.
I wish I had.
Well, you want to buy some weed? Yeah, I wish you had. Jared Padalecki starts to walk away, and he's like, "Hey, you want to buy some weed? We'll fuck you up, man." And Jared Padalecki's like, "You're not reading the room right now, man."
But like, you have that, and then like he comes back to like wherever he like lives, like the shanty, and like he climbs up the stairs. There's like a stuffed baboon that he's talking to.
Yes.
And then like he pulls out like a dirty magazine, like performs faux acts of gratification on it, which is like, why did we need this in this movie? And then we have him like he hears a noise, he goes wandering through like
he says, "No one better be fucking with my weed" or something like that. Yes.
And he goes like to the attic. He like finds a mannequin covered with a sheet, rips off. He's like, "Oh baby," like so Rob will insert this.
Oh god,
like,
I will. It's glorious.
Oh, it's like it's Olivier quality stuff.
Remember
right there.
that night? That great time we had when you took my virginity?
It's just like, what?
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere.
It's like, oh my god.
Gina, it's just you, baby. It's been a long time, Gina. You remember that special night we had? Remember when you took my virginity? You're sexy. You're still tight as ever. I'm gonna fucking pound you so hard.
And then obviously he's like feeling the mannequin up. We see Jason behind, like walk toward him.
Yep.
And then this is one of the more weird, like genuinely like bizarre moments. He sees like somehow he has like cat-like reflexes. Jason goes like at him, and he just automatically just like swings back with his bat. Where he's like in a moment he's almost able to like just like repel Jason.
It is so the reaction time is so insanely quick for this dude who's smoking wet weed
and
an idiot, and while he's reminiscing about his sexy time with his sex mannequin. Like this dude should be totally distracted. He should not be that quick to fight off Jason. And it doesn't even matter that he holds off Jason for a moment, because he just gets killed right after.
But what does he say when he gets Jason's bag off?
Oh, when he rips the bag off, and we get a quick shot of deformed Jason, which I wish we had more of in this movie. He says something like,
that shit ain't
right. What you say to any deformed person.
Who's attacking you with a sharp object.
Now I'm thinking back to when we had Josh on for Unsolved Mysteries, and we were talking about the Skinwalker and all that stuff, and I think how Josh was saying how he told some story where he saw some, deformed person in a supermarket, and it caught him off guard. Now I'm imagining you see like a deformed person supermarket and go, that shit ain't right, man. That would be so offensive.
Can you imagine, like, this, like, obviously we all went to high school together, and this will have to be bleeped out, but librarian.
Oh,
imagine having class. Imagine walking into the library for like one of those class sessions and being like, "That shit ain't right, man."
Oh my god. Oh, I'm learning and digging up too many memories in this discussion.
Okay, just real quick. What would happen if you did that?
Oh,
and somebody heard you. What would happen?
Ooh, back in the day or now?
Let's do both.
Okay,
Let's have a fun
now,
experiment.
sensitivity training. Like, mandated sensitivity training. That's my answer for now, if that happened at Arlington. Back in the day? Jeez, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, I guess it would depend on who would hear it, right?
Yeah.
You know? God.
Probably nobody back in our day had a sense of humor.
Exactly.
Like, nobody. Yeah. Like, the kids didn't have a sense of humor, the teachers didn't have a sense of humor. So, like, I feel like now someone would at least laugh at that. Like, imagine being, like, in school suspension, and it's like, what are you in for? Looked at the librarian and said, that shit ain't right, Brad. Somebody would die laughing at that now.
Yes, like, absolutely. Someone would probably laugh if you told the story in your sensitivity training. Someone would chuckle, and they'd be like, who was that? Okay, you got another week of this. Okay. Yeah, he's great. He lost his virginity to a mannequin.
Yes.
As most people do,
he's
I think.
Insensitive, and disfigured.
I remembered when Jared Padalecki first encounters him, he's working on the wood chipper, so they can set up the wood chipper for later. And Jared Padalecki like startles him or tries to get his attention, and when he does get attention, he turns around and he's like, "Whoa, you snuck up on me. You came about that close to hitting the start button on the ass-whooping machine." Which I need to remember and tell people, because if anybody ever jumps up at me, I want to say that to him. That's a great line right there. And we mentioned the black kid trying to masturbate in the common area, which is just absolutely ridiculous.
But I think we should devote some more time to Captain America's just walk shield.
Yes, when he seems to be good friends with Chewie. When Chewie doesn't come back, and they're like, "We gotta go. We don't want to stay in this house, whatever." He's like, "No, I gotta go get Chewie. He's just out in this shed for way too long. You know, he was supposed to get a screwdriver, and it's taken him 20 minutes. So let me go find him." And he arms himself with what we think was a fire poker and a wok. It's not like a full wok. It's one of those woks with a handle. So I don't know, like an American wok, I guess, or something like that. And it's so big that it has the full handle, and it has like the grip on the other side of it. And there's no other way to describe it than he holds it like Captain America holds the Wakanda shield in the last two Avengers movies. And it looks so stupid. And he drops it, right?
Yeah, he drops it.
We never get... Because that would have been great. I would have loved to see like Jason come out and him actually like block the machete with it or something. But no, he drops it.
Immediately. He goes running.
He goes running. He sees the dead body of Chewie. He goes running when Jason shows up, and Jason fucking whips an axe at him. We see like an insert shot of it spinning 40 times as it's making its way to the black kid, hits him in the back, and then we get a great comedic beat of him laying on the ground or on a wood pile with the axe sticking out of his back, going, "Help me! Can somebody help me?" And like everybody's like, "No, dude."
And Danielle Panabaker goes, and Jared Padalecki's like, "It's a trap."
Yes.
And then like we see Jason just like walk up to him and pull the axe out. It's like, not really. It was literally just Jason threw an axe at him because he was running too fast.
Yep.
And that was it. Like you could have saved him. You chose not to. Technically Jason might have like caused the injury.
Yes.
But he was not the murderer in that instance.
Absolutely.
Then we see him later on where we see, like, Jason apparently like took his body and like dumped it in the spa.
Oh yeah, he's in the hot tub thing, and it's all bloody, and it hangs on it way too long, and Zack said they were really proud of that shot. Yeah, so he meets his demise. I guess we talked about Shrimp, douchebag. I
want to talk about his death, though.
Okay.
Beyond the greatest cinematic moment of all time.
Well, yes, of course. I think we should start at the beginning. Every time, I think it happens twice at the beginning where it's really pronounced, where later they're all frightened of Jason, they're running, so it doesn't really come into play. When Travis Winwinkle and Jared Padalecki interact with each other, it is the cringiest, most uncomfortable shit. Because, like, how big of a douchebag do you have to be where he's like, listen, can you put some flyers up? My sister went missing. Can you put some flyers up around the outpost? Trent comes in and he goes, you gonna buy anything? What balls that takes, man. And I'm gonna have to put the clipping because I didn't write all the dialogue down. But the way those two were talking is just, I'm just like, this is cringy. I'm like, this is like making me like, ooh, this is terrible dialogue.
Well, is he here? Maybe I could talk to him. Maybe if he understands the situation.
Hey, are you gonna buy something? I mean, you've been up here for quite a while yapping, so.
Sure. Yeah.
Thanks. So we have 2 waters and some gas.
2 waters and some gas. Guess I'm an asshole.
You okay, bro? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's fine. Thanks. But I'm not your bro.
So you don't want to be friends after this? You don't want to hang out?
Let it go, Trent.
It's not me. This guy's being a dick.
Yeah, it's me. Obviously, I'm the one being a dick. Sir, thank you very much anyways.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
And then when he comes back to the house, or when Jared Padalecki comes to the house...
Every time they interact with each other, it gets cringy.
It's just like, oh, God, like... Did like an actual 13-year-old edgelord write this dialogue? It's so bad.
Michael Bay sat in the office that weekend.
Yes, exactly. And that was the start where I'm just like, okay, I hope this doesn't happen too much. But of course, Danielle Panabaker goes off with Supernatural guy. Yeah.
You know she doesn't know him. She goes like on his motorcycle, which is very
basically just because Trent was mean to him, you know, and then his sister's missing.
Maybe her crime, as opposed to like premarital sex and drug use, is stranger danger.
Going with a stranger.
Stranger danger.
Sure. Yeah, it does get her killed. So, and then of course, so Trent's a douchebag for the whole time. We talked about the stupendous tits. I even didn't remember that he says
videotape it.
They videotape it. That came back to me,
TV.
and it's hooked up TV so they can watch. They aren't even seem to be watching it, but that
it's for us to watch
exactly. It's like different angles in one shot. You know, if you have cameras, use them. But I forgot that after he says that your tits are stupendous, they cut to something else. They cut back, and he's still talking. He's like, "You have perfect nipple placement. You'd win a tit competition or something like that." And I'm like, "What the hell is this?"
Then she made a comment. She's like, "You really know how to like charm a girl or something."
Yes, yeah. It's one of the weirdest sex scenes.
That's what we laughed at. Like we were that was like he was the highlight in 2009. His sex scene and the gun were the highlights of the movie back in the day.
Definitely. And then, I mean, we mentioned how he's so ready to go. He becomes almost Action Man. He tries to steal the cop car, or no, he tries to use the radio because he couldn't find the keys or something.
And then Jason literally, that's the thing. You have the cop that shows up. Oh yeah, wait, Jared Padalecki calls the police and just tells him like it's near the lake,
the house by Crystal Lake, yeah. And it's like, glad there's only one in this movie.
And then like the cop shows up and he's like, please open up. And Jason like sticks like what? Oh god, it's just like what a sharp object.
It's probably another fire poker
through the peephole, and like it impales him through the like. It's just like I get it. It's a horror movie. I have no problem with it, but at this point, like it's just gratuitous.
Yeah, it's
and not in a good way.
Same stabbing and stuff.
And then, like, they open the door with the cop's head just still dangling there.
Yep.
And nobody, it's like, we know there's a back door. Why wouldn't you? You know Jason's possibly there.
Exactly.
Wouldn't you? And they're like, nope. Then, like, he tries to call for help on, like, the radio.
The radio, I think
and
it's
they get
dead,
separated.
and they get separated, which, of course, that leads to the infamous moment that we talk about all the time, the thing that is stuck in my head since watching this movie, because we laughed so much in the theater. And even, it stuck with us, but it went through some iterations. The
actual quote is...
Yeah, fuck are you, gun? Where we always said, where are you, gun? We forgot there was a curse in it. But he goes off, he slips down like a cliff or like a mudslide into a lake or a puddle, whatever the hell it is. And he drops his gun, and he's searching around, his hands in the shallow water, and he says, fuck are you, gun?
Fuck are you,
gun.
Can you get any better than that? Because like we were saying, as we were watching, I was like, it would have been so easy to just show him searching for it. Jason pops up in the background, he sees him, he runs away. No dialogue. That would have been so simple. Someone had to make the decision for him to say, we want you to be a douchebag to an inanimate object.
Well, it goes back to that thing I've joked about on Cinemati's. It's like, think of how movies are made and how just, oh God, fluid anything is in the movie. Somebody had to write that. It had to go through numerous drafts. Everybody had to sign off on it. It made it to set. They had to do numerous takes of it. It had to survive editing. It had to survive all this stuff. And yet that was of all the things that probably got excised, that made it to completion. Yes. That's incredible.
It's incredible. And
it's a miracle.
That's probably why it stuck with us for so long.
It's a miracle.
Because it is a miracle. Fuck are you, gun?
But even his death is like, and this is where again, and you know, we kind of proved the point of the we watched the killer cut. I was kind of convinced of it then too. Now that it's coming back to me, his death is very gratuitous in that moment because like Jason impales him with the machete.
Yep.
And like it's weird. Jason's trying to like stick the machete through, and he's like kind of struggling with it.
Yeah. Seems like he's almost trying to pull it through.
Yeah, and it doesn't work. Like Jason, it's weird to see Jason struggling, trying to kill somebody.
And this is when we get I gave me a little Texas Chainsaw vibe. It looks like trucker comes up.
It looks like this is the thing I want to bring up. Was we have before Trent gets impaled, he like where he climbs down the cliff after or whatever you want to call it, a little steep hill after he loses the gun, and we see this like definition of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003, more 2006 I would say, truck, and it looks like the character of Monty, and Monty's the character from the remake where he's the one who has like no legs.
Okay.
In the 2006 prequel, he gets his legs chopped off by Leatherface.
Gotcha.
Because Arlie Ermey like eggs him on to do it. And it looks like that same actor and character, and the truck looks very similar.
Gotcha.
I don't know. Like, only thing I can say is that this film apparently takes place in New Jersey. Like, so we see like a boat at one point, say like New Jersey on it, like for the camp.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at license plates or anything.
There is a boat that says like NJ something by like the lake. But the weird thing is that the film was filmed in Texas.
Oh.
So I wouldn't be surprised, once again, it was just like, maybe it was something they had, like, it was a prop that they had in the warehouse, and they just went with it.
Sure.
And the fact that, like, they just cast an actor for that moment that looked similar, maybe a coincidence, but, like, it felt like Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibe.
Definitely.
It did. I'm just, like, I remember even, like, less in our initial viewing, but more in subsequent viewings, I've always been, like, this feels like a different movie in this moment.
Yeah.
And then even, like, you have the moment where, like, in this truck, we even talked about, like, has this weird sort of, like, oh god, it's almost like rebar, like on the back of it for some reason.
Yeah.
And like after impaling him or stabbing him with this machete, Jason like throws him on top of that, and he gets impaled again as the driver drives away.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, that is really it's a very good point. Gratuitous for this movie.
I get it that like it's weird that like it's not gratuitous in that like, oh, it's compensation for him being such a D-bag.
Yeah.
It's gratuitous in like just like a logistical level. Gratuitous.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And it's very out of sorts, and it's jarring. And I don't know. Actually, I don't think anybody cares enough to explain the true history behind the Friday the 13th remake.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, there's a lot of this in this movie that just feels like it was just tacked on, just kind of thrown in.
Absolutely.
Like I said, I wonder how much of this is just alternate takes they just tacked on to make it seem like alternate, like super duper cut.
Yes. Yeah, I could see that for sure. Yeah, especially with that scene we were mentioning earlier where we were like, why are they still at the cabins or back at the cabins? And it's like, oh, we just threw in another cabin scene that we had, you know?
Yeah. I think alternate takes were used to pad the alternate cut runtime.
Do we want to talk any about Jason? I mean, we talked about Derek Mears and how he was light and teleporting in this movie. I have to say, his underground tunnels have everything. He's got a whole bunker down there.
But we were even asking the question, like, how does that exist? Was that there for the camp?
Yeah, or was he doing it on the off season whenever he had time?
But that's the thing, though, is that like, what is like, if you're running like, how many summer camps have underground tunnels? Underground tunnels only exist for like usually in the Northeast for like winter time, so people can like traverse the ground.
Exactly.
Like you don't have to shovel snow, you don't have to worry about that sort of thing. And like summer camps are intentionally not open in the winter.
Yeah, it's very strange.
It seems like it was just there because it was spooky ambiance.
Yeah,
it was there as a creative decision with no really like real world ground.
Exactly.
Into it,
And like we said earlier, I thought, and you mentioned it, that they were setting up, it's like, oh, how can Jason get around so much?
Well,
he has tunnels, but no, he can just teleport again. They don't even, like, follow through with that.
Yeah, I think it was just probably an idea that someone said was neat. And they're like, yeah, we'll figure it out in filming, the things that don't work.
Yes.
Yeah, Derek Mears as Jason, I would definitely, like, don't get me wrong, like, I've seen him, like, in that, like, 7-8 hour documentary, which is on Shudder, Rob.
Oh,
just
boy.
Just
okay.
FYI, Rob, FYI.
I haven't even gotten to In Search of Darkness.
Oh, gee. Part 2 is on there.
Okay, I haven't even, I guess I'm watching 16 hours of horror documentaries.
It's 16 hours of horror documentaries. It's like, oh God, 24 hours of that with Jason. Oh my God. Rob and I backed In Search of Darkness, and like, I watched it once, and I'm like, Rob, I regret this. I regret this.
Our name is in the credits that are difficult to find, because I didn't even think they were in there the first time.
That was hysterical. Like, when we did that, and like, it was like, the digital version was released like a month before the physical version. I had Rob go search for it, and we couldn't find it. We realized like the credits were like formatted in the most like, inexplicable way possible.
Yep. And they make up at least half an hour of the, documentary.
Yeah, In Search of Darkness, literally, unless you have no understanding of the horror genre, a genuine waste of your time. Yeah, genuine. Okay. It's like, waste of time. But yeah, Derek Mears, like I said, I've seen a bunch of different Jasons, like, interview and stuff, and some of them are very, again, obviously Kane Hodder being the gold standard, but even Ken Kirzinger, I think, who did Freddy vs. Jason, even he's like a little bit like, again, he'll always be my Jason, because I love Freddy vs. Jason so much. I just like the look of that Jason. No, I think Derek Mears, again, really cool. Like, when he's interviewed, seems like a pretty interesting guy. Mm-hmm. But in this, like, he's just told to play, like, berserker.
Yeah,
and absolutely. It's to a detriment, not just of the film, but just like his legacy as a Jason.
Sure. Right on. Was there anything else you guys wanted to mention? I think we got through all the characters, all the goofiness. I mean, well, the goofiness that remains are for the snacks, of course. Oh, God. Is there anything else?
I'm trying to think of anything else from that, like, theater-going experience. Like, that is a formative moment in the Cinemodities, like, model, because that was, like, before that, like, I can't remember if there was a time where you and I, like, giggled or chuckled at any movie.
No, it really was that, like, 2009, 2010.
Well, technically, the very germ of the Cinemodities idea is... Right now, Rob is...
Bug on my laptop. It's the Ladybug in Winter thing all over again that never got released.
To be fair, the technical, it's like the primordial amoeba of Cinemodities is Hellboy 2 and... you have such a lovely baby.
I'm not a baby, I'm a tumor.
And Rob, at like...
Probably one of the first times I truly... cracked up laughing in a movie theater.
At 15 years old, that was Rob. Like, that was like, I guess you remember, no, that is Rob. Like, almost like 15 years later, like, literally, it's... That was probably the true germ of Cinemodities. It's like, like a jarring line of dialogue being so out of place, just laughing hysterically at it.
And I haven't seen the Golden Army in so long.
I've wanted
to revisit
those movies. I've wanted to revisit those a lot lately. I just haven't had time to.
I know that we have not revisited Golden Army, but we've compared it many times to Thor: The Dark World because of the elves as the villains and stuff like that. We have to check out the Hellboy. Sorry.
Yes.
I gotta bleep that out.
I'm trying to think. Like, was there a movie prior to Friday the 13th that we did this thing? Because I'm trying to think. This is where I wish I had the movie stuff.
Exactly, because you would have because I don't remember the timeline.
Well, I'm trying to think because this is February 2009. So like, I know we saw Curious Case of Benjamin Button. That was just like, I don't remember us laughing. I probably was a couple moments we laughed at.
Yeah, but
like
we were more
meaningful.
Bored for most of that
movie. I fell asleep during it. I remember when Rob leaned over and was like, "You awake?" And I'm like, "Nope."
When does the movie start?
I don't know. I don't think we saw a lot of movies like in that fall season. That was still like way before it was like every like. I guess Tropic Thunder, but like that was intentional. And I Will Fuck You Up.
Yes, I don't know if we really laughed at an unintentional comedy before
Pineapple Express, which we
another comedy.
That was our time with a theater going experience. The people just like the smoke ring.
I can blow smoke rings.
It's like, the audience was more there to admire marijuana as a craft as opposed to enjoy a movie. Exactly. Oh God, what else was there? I think that was it for the most part. It wasn't
comes into my mind.
It began in 2009. The idea of like that's when like we saw that. Then like it was like Watchmen became the really big thing with us. Like and then like after that was I don't think we saw a Marvel movie together. I don't think our first Marvel movie. God, Rob, what was our first Marvel movie? Captain America.
I think that's what I was about to say. Captain America.
That was always you and your father who saw Marvel together. I was always kind of excluded from that. Yeah, I think because again, then we saw like Transformers, like Revenge of the Fallen Moon,
yeah,
Gajo,
yeah.
Like I guess Gajo's the one where we're laughing at Marlon Wayans, and Channing like wearing like super suits, just running like it's like the Eiffel Tower collapses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this might have been the one that the dam broke where we were like, we can watch these movies as something they're not intended to be.
And like we weren't even kind of aware of it, like oh god. 9 years later, a podcast that's completely like focused on this is like as a thing is going to be birthed.
And now that's like my thesis whenever I watch a movie. Look at it as something completely different.
Any movie being unintentional comedy.
Absolutely.
Yes, if you look at it under the right lens.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jeremy, anything else from this movie you wanted to mention? We covered it pretty well.
How many times are you going to watch it now?
Oh, yes.
After this, for Halloween time, like, are you gonna like just have this like on ad nauseum like in the background?
Is this the start of a tradition?
How many copies are you buying right now? We don't even know. Jeremy has his film up. He's on Amazon. He's checking the Blu-ray listings and the DVD. No, Jeremy, it's not available in 4K. We're sorry to disappoint you. You cannot see the desaturated first prologue and like super duper HD.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, but yeah, it was definitely a trip.
Right on.
That's probably the best way to describe it. It's a trip.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, with that being said, that gets us to our questions. I think this is a really easy one for me. Cinemonity. No. It's an unintentional comedy. It's great that works, but for what it's going for, it doesn't work. It's kind of what like we were saying with the other Texas Chainsaw 2003 aside. We get into all these rehashes or reimaginings that don't work, like the Freddy Krueger being a pedophile and stuff like that. So no. But Late Night, I think you said it best earlier. Yes, with the right people. If you can get people, you kind of have the mindset that we went in knowing, maybe not knowing that it's going to be like a laugh riot, but you're willing to start to give yourself over to it, I think it could be a yes under the right circumstance. So I'm going no to Cinemodities, yes. A qualified yes, I guess, to a Late Night. So what do you think, Zach?
I want to say yes. It has to be a yes to Cinemati because it's the foundation. Like we just said, it's the foundation to it all.
Say something
it's
like
the
that,
foundation to this all. So yes,
it's probably like the cornerstone of a lot of this stuff. So.
It is. It's gonna be yes for that Late Night movie. Oh God, I think people will chuckle at it though, but I'm kind of like I want to hear Jeremy's answer because as we said, like that's gonna be a big theme of this Monstober is getting other people to look at Monstober films this year.
Yes,
and just I guess because I think I mentioned it in previous episodes, I had somebody watch Mandy and it was a horrible experience. Like it really like genuinely hated the movie. And like it kind of just added a whole other dimension to the idea that like just because Rob and I are weirdos, not as everybody else. So I guess I am refraining from answering until Jeremy does, just to get an idea. I'll let him color my thought process.
So we think Jeremy's told us he's listened to this podcast before. First time caller, long time listener. So you understand the concept of these questions? Like, okay, good. Mm-hmm. Thank God.
To explain
so what do you think for Cinemodities and Late Night, Jeremy? Yes or no? Or
Cinemodity, no. I'm gonna have to go with no because it's really just like you said. It's essentially a remake. It's just it's ground that's already been tread. It's there's nothing about it that's really new or
gotcha.
Yeah,
but Late Night maybe.
Yes. Okay. In the spreadsheet, and maybe that means come 4-year anniversary. We'll have to go back to Jeremy. Let him dial in.
You had half a year to think about it.
Jeremy, what are you doing in March of 2022?
Okay. So why maybe? What's?
Are you okay? Do you feel like you wasted? Forget about that. Like, let's pretend that Rob and I weren't here. Like, if you were watching, let's say it's like, I don't know, on streaming service, on TV, and you just, for whatever reason, you had nothing to do. You had 90 minutes to kill. You had to pick somebody up at the airport, and you decided just to throw this on or just watch it. Would you be frustrated and be like, I can't believe I wasted my time with this?
If I didn't know what I was getting into, yeah. I would probably say.
Okay, so if we weren't there to provide the level of context, like, this is a racket, you would be like, eh. That's the thing. Like we say, Cinemati is a classification.
Yes.
Late Night is a recommendation, and that's kind of how we boil it down. Mm-hmm. So, like, did you enjoy this enough to be like, okay, to another friend that wasn't Rob or I want to show this to you as an unintentional comedy? Would you ever do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
Right on.
All right, so Jeremy's kind of in the middle. So it's a maybe. We'll definitely we'll come back to him in 6 months.
Yes.
We'll come back to him in 6 months. Tune in 6 months to hear the definitive answer.
Do we want to come back to you in 6 months?
Now
that his answer was a maybe?
I know. It gave me definitely an idea.
Is this just a domino effect of things we'll have to answer in the 4-year extravaganza?
It's not indeterminate for me. I won't make you do 2 of those in one movie. I'm going to say no to Late Night. Even though as much as I enjoy this, I think this is once again Rob and I. This is a formative experience for Rob and I, and it's very exclusive in that sense. Because even as Rob knows, Red Letter Media, I remember at one point they were talking about. I know Jay and whoever the other guy is, not Mike, were doing one of the Friday the 13th movies.
Oh
and
Jay I never watched that.
And Jay has always defended this, being it's anything you would want out of these movies. It's just it's just another Friday the 13th movie, and he defends it to that. And considering that like we've said numerous times now over the years, Red Letter Media has become a very weird vanguard for normies in the Then again, for normies out there, a lot of people listen to them when it comes to cult classic films. I'm gonna say no to Late Night movies because I have that feeling that unless you trained like we did for Jeremy, I think most people would feel burned by this.
Okay.
And I think that's point. And I think that's why it bombed at the box office. I think a lot of people went in expecting something very specific, and they did not.
With that drop off we mentioned, absolutely. That's
there is an argument made that beyond the lawsuits, before this went into legal hell, this was potentially a franchise killer.
Yeah.
It's weird to think of it that way, a 12-part film series, and again, everything has to come to an end. But it's weird to think that this could be a killer of a franchise.
That Friday the 13th will never make it to the 13th installment. Yeah, absolutely.
That not can kill Jason except a by the number sequel. Not just everybody hates Jason Goes to Hell, which to this day I still think is a masterpiece in imagination.
Yes,
that movie. As much as everybody hates, if anybody's listening to this and hates Jason Goes to Hell, that didn't kill the franchise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jason X didn't kill the franchise. Yet somehow the most by the numbers safe film. Again, it goes back to the thing. The safe product killed the franchise.
Yeah, exactly. Like we started this conversation with. Okay.
All right, snack time.
Restaurant. Okay, I have actually a few from the second prologue of the movie.
Of course.
There's a bit where the characters are arguing. Not really arguing. They're getting this little back and forth about the names of bottled water. Remember the characters every bottle. You go to a grocery store, there's crystal this, crystal that. So I don't even know why they're saying it because it's called Crystal Lake, and they're that's stupid. That's
he's telling the legend of the thing.
Yeah, he's like Crystal Lake's a water name or something like that. And the guy, he's like, every water has crystal in it, and the guy responds with Aquafina. So I think that we should sell Aquafina water, but it's repackaged Crystal Blank or whatever that. So we have we take Aquafina and maybe we just rip the label off or something, but then we call it Crystal Cinemodities or Cinemodities Crystal or something like that.
It's like Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah, and it would come from whatever water source in the restaurant because I know we have some type of moat.
we have a brook. We have something.
We have something. I know that there's some entrance to the restaurant that people have to take a ferry to get to. I know, so that means there's water, and I feel you just have empty Aquafina bottles and we fill them up with water.
We make one of the waiters just literally have bottles and just fill it up and just screw the cap on.
Yes, exactly. Also, from that beginning, we mentioned it before. Flame cocoons. Need I say more? Maybe someone wants to get in a flame cocoon. Give them that opportunity.
Who are we to judge?
If you want to get in a sleeping bag that's hanging over a fire, who are we to say?
We're going to provide the opportunity.
Yes, you have the opportunity. I just love the concept of flame cocoon. I had 2 more. What did you guys have? Zach, did anything jump out at you? Have you been thinking about this
not
long and hard?
This isn't really like a snack movie. There's not a lot of food in it. I think at one point we had the idea of what does Jason eat during all this?
Yeah, we were saying what does Jason? I'm like, does Jason eat the dead bodies? How is he living? And I think you, Zach, you were like, I don't know, bugs.
He probably eats bugs and shit.
He comes up out of season, out of hibernation. He's just sweeping everything from the ground into a plate and just eating it.
I feel like a homeless man's pancake. It's just how about that homeless man's pancake? It's just debris.
Okay.
And he uses his own fecal matter to hold it together like batter.
I like that.
It's a shit pancake.
I like that. Yes, it's a Jason's mud pie or something like that. Okay, you can name it many different things. Okay.
I think it's just called bugs and shit.
Bugs and shit works well.
That's it. I'm keeping it that. Keeping it short and brief this time.
Okay. Jeremy, did you have any snacks? Anything come to mind?
Not really. No. Like Zach said, there's not much. There's really not much. It was
The only thing that I can think of is like they were arguing about like the beer or something, and then that's where like the line about the piss came about.
Oh yeah,
But that's about it. Yeah.
Does somebody want to drink piss?
Yes, we might have. Hey, I mean,
can we pay that actress to do like a top shelf level like delicacy? It's like those like coffee beans like the cheetah would like eat and like poop out, and then like they would do that like the brew of coffee. Maybe we get in contact with her.
Yes.
We ask her what she's doing, and we call it by like we will keep her anonymous. We'll say this is the characters.
Yeah.
And it's top shelf. And if Wayne or whatever his name is, Dwayne, I don't know his Wayne.
Yeah, whatever.
If he comes in, he can't buy it.
Okay, so we limit that because she specifically told him
he can't drink.
Never drink his piss. Okay, this is getting very close to like gamer girl bathwater, but I like where we're going with that. Okay. The other two I had from what you mentioned are our Hick character when he takes out the dirty magazine and we see he says he's like, "Give Daddy, or let me give you a lick," and he licks it. We should have flavored magazines for licking.
Oh, okay.
Like we have magazines in our waiting room. I think we have a bunch of magazines.
Is it waiting room? It's the doctor's office now?
Not the
lobby?
Yeah, I guess the lobby or like where the hostess is when they're waiting for seats, which we said now many times. Why are people waiting for seats in the Infinite Void? But we have...
It's artificial scarcity.
Yeah, we have magazines there. Make some of them flavored. Wouldn't it be great to be like, you open a magazine and be like, oh, lick this and taste something.
Wait, I have an idea. So we have a flavored menu.
Ooh.
That's a game
how much
changer.
stuff we have on the menu, that would be an ordeal to set up, That's an interesting idea. The menu is a good thing. I like the lickable magazines and the lickable menu. With that idea on the menu, though, I'm also thinking that we have the waiters tell people, like maybe a family comes in with their kids, and you say it's like, oh, we clean all our menus after using them and we sterilize them because they're actually like flavored menus. Like, it's not scratch and sniff. It's like you can actually lick them.
And one of them's like, does mine taste like Lysol?
And I was about to say, don't make it taste like anything. Just have laminated paper so these kids are just licking nothing. And then it's like the dad or the mom comes in and it's like, what does it taste like? And like, I don't know, or maybe the kid thinks it's chocolate or something. And then the adult licks it and it's like, just licked a laminated piece of paper. I like that, faking him out with it. The other one I really liked was when we see Chewie becoming a slapstick with the hockey stick, when he breaks the light bulb, or the glass around the light bulb, but not the bulb or the filament or anything. We see all the glass fall on the ground, and we see him freak out, and he's like, oh shit, and he tries to sweep up the glass with the hockey stick. No more brooms in the restaurant.
Just hockey sticks?
The cleaning staff has hockey sticks to clean up broken plates and glasses. That's what I'm thinking. Because wouldn't it be great to go to a restaurant, waiter drops a plate or something, you see the waiter get executed in the Cinemati's restaurant immediately.
We wipe the brain matter with the hockey stick.
And then the janitor comes out and they're like, oh good, he's going to clean. And maybe even it's hidden. So the janitor comes out with like that yellow mop bucket and you just see the stick coming out of it. And everybody's like, oh yeah, he's going to pull out a mop or something. He just pulls out a wet hockey stick and starts trying to sweep glass and plate up. That would be wonderful. Those are all the snacks I had. Any others? Anything else for the restaurant?
No. One more point I want to bring up about the movie.
Okay.
One thing early in the movie when we have Jared Padalecki walking around, there's like this weird between like the cop and like the woman. Oh. There's this weird like good old boy vibe to the town. Like we don't speak about what happened around here.
Yeah.
Which is like very reminiscent of that part like in the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Where they have like the really weird looking like looks like Down syndrome woman and like the really obese woman. Yeah. They're like it's like no, you be nice to that boy. He's just been hurt his entire life. Mm-hmm. Like it feels very much like that. Like it's like that. Like the town's protecting itself. Once again, like where did that come from? Yes. And it feels like maybe like there was a different prologue where that one was desaturated with Pamela Voorhees, and maybe it came from that. And they just deliberately made that as like weirdly like opaque as possible. But yeah, that was a really weird part of that movie that happens. This is a very disjointed movie.
Oh, 100%.
Like, this is where I say like I would say like a lot of these movies are clunky. But like, there's a feeling to this, just like it's bordering on objectively bad. Like the story, the pacing, the lighting, the performances, like everything.
The lighting is horrible.
Yeah. Like this feels like it's not there because again, for the most part, it is watchable. Yeah. But it feels like something that's like maybe one step away from just being objectively like bad.
Yep. Yeah.
Cynical cash grab.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts, Babu Frik? Do you know what he said?
Joy, memory, go blank.
Blank. I heard black.
Well, that too. Let's see. Let's just go through the entire roster and see.
We haven't talked to Babu a lot, so let's see. Let's see what he's saying. Ooh, I think he's licking one of our magazines right there. Oh, Babu Frik, I think this is the only time we'll have you. You've overstayed your welcome.
Well, there's Rob. No, there is another.
Oh, man.
To keep us in the Star Wars family, there is another.
Okay.
We haven't seen the last of Babu. You might have already heard Babu at this point.
Wow. Yeah, the turnstiles.
Babu might have been. This might be his last.
Babu Frik might be the protagonist, turn tenant, yes. So, with all that being said, I think when this comes out, we're going to have one more Monstober episode.
Or two, it depends.
One or two, yes. Whether or not it's a movie that...
it's either the second or third film in the roster.
Exactly. One that we really enjoy, or one that I have no idea and Zack's going to carry the torch for because it doesn't exist anywhere except in his house. I guess what I want to say at the start is at the end of this episode, Jeremy, thank you for being here. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope we didn't put you on the spot too much. And something that we don't usually do except in the show notes, we should advertise an inferiority complex, because the two of us are here. So I know we usually say it, but thank you for our theme song. We welcome ourselves. You're welcome to us, like you're welcome. I don't know what the proper phrasing is. But the link to Spotify for An Inferiority Complex is always in the show notes. Check it out. We got both of us here, and you should listen now that you know the band personally and our thoughts on Friday the 13th, Part 12. Other than that, Cinemodity's Patreon, come check it out to support the podcast and earn access to even more content. I'm sure I mentioned it earlier, but our tie-in for Monstober over at the Patreon, Ben and I are discussing Monster House, and that is a movie. I haven't edited it yet, and we recorded it like 2 months ago, so I'm not sure what we say about it. Also, harass us, cinemodities@gmail.com, and check out the Cinemodities subreddit for more information about the show. Anything else at the end? Or okay, it's I haven't updated my laptop to New York time, so it is only 8:53 right now.
Excellent.
So none of you should be getting tired. It's not almost 11 p.m. But how are we going to end this episode? I think we figured it out before we started recording. When Wade finds the weed plants, he's listening to Sister Christian by Night Ranger. Keep your motor running. And we go through a roller coaster songs, but let's play that in reverse. That's easy enough. I don't even remember what the hell we did for part 9.
Probably
that's what
That doesn't even show up in this.
Yeah, it's like if it is, it's like so brief that I missed it or something.
Yeah, it's weird again. Yeah, another thing that was absent.
Yes. So tune in next week for Monstober continued, and it'll be good.
Ja, nicht, nur muss denn euch zurückgesetzt.